Chapter 308. Mo Xiao Bai and the other two waited in Iron Mountain City for 2 days before the Azure Edge in Northern Blue arrived at the Azure Edge headquarters in Iron Mountain City. It was Yin Yin, whom Mo Xiao Bai and the others knew. I didn't expect it to be you guys. Yin Yin was a little surprised to see Mo Xiao Bai and the other two. The three of you can already capture 7 apertured expert alive. The younger generation will surpass us in time. Suyin smiled happily. She waved her hand and looked a little smug and humble. How can we be so powerful? Natsu Ki smiled. Captain Yin, I'll leave these two to you. They've been in contact with the Blood King's men. I don't know what they're discussing. Yin Yin's face was solemn as he nodded. I understand. I'll ask them. After saying that, she paused. I'll also inform General Yin about the Blood King. Natsu Ki nodded. I'll have to trouble you then. Mo Xiao Bai opened his mouth and said, By the way, Sister Yin, if you find out the reason for their meeting, can you tell us? Su Yin's eyes lit up, and she nodded like a chick pecking at rice. Yes. Sister Yin, can you tell us too? We're arresting people after all. We have a right to know, right? Natsu Ki looked at the 2 curious children and rubbed her temples. Yin Yin was stunned at first, then she smiled. Okay, I'll tell you when the time comes. By the way, where's Xiao Shui? Yin Yin turned his head and looked around. Mo Xiao Bai smiled. Xiao Shui is in school. She's preparing to break through to the 5 apertured level. That girl is going to break through again so soon. Yin Yin was a little surprised. Then she glanced at Mo Xiao Bai, and the corner of her mouth twitched. This guy is faster. She didn't want to talk anymore. Su Yin and Mu Xiaodong felt the same way as Yin Yin. Okay, this is a serious matter. I'm going back to report. Yin Yin was hurt and didn't want to stay here. Carrying Lin Qinggan and Zhang Shasha, she bid farewell to Mo Xiao Bai and the others. She then nodded at Feng Huili and the other higher-ups of Azure Edge before leaving. After Yin Yin left, Feng Huili, who had been on tenterhooks for the past 3 days, was finally able to relax. She smiled at Mo Xiao Bai and the other two. Miss Su, Miss Mu, Mr. Mo, thank you so much this time. Mo Xiao Bai nodded. You're welcome. Feng Huili was silent for a moment before continuing. By the way, we've learned about Yun Jin's family situation. He has a wife and a daughter. Yun Jin left home on the day of the meeting with the Shadow Cult and never returned. They don't know that something has happened to Yun Jin. Mo Xiao Bai was silent for a while, then nodded. Although he wasn't particularly familiar with Yun Jin, he had still communicated with her before. Moreover, he had even left a communication mark with her. He still wanted to know more about Yun Jin's situation. After a moment of silence, Mo Xiao Bai took out a spatial ring and handed it to Feng Huili. There are some origin crystals in here. I'll have to trouble Minister Feng to give them to them. You can also take 20% as a reward. I'll have to trouble you to take care of them. Feng Huili's eyes revealed a trace of pleasant surprise, but she quickly hid it. She nodded. Mr. Mo, don't worry. I'll take care of them. I'll come visit from time to time. In fact, Mo Xiao Bai probably wouldn't come back, but it was still okay to give him a scare. He sighed inwardly. Just treat it as buying blood energy from Yun Jin. After instructing Feng Huili, Mo Xiao Bai and the other two left the Azure Edge's headquarters. Suyin looked at Mo Xiao Bai with a smile. Xiao Bai, I didn't expect you to be so compassionate. Natsu Ki chuckled and looked at Mo Xiao Bai. This isn't a bad thing. She had the power of nature and had more experience with life. Naturally, she was warmer. Of course, Natsu Ki's heart was black to her enemies. Hong Ji, who had been angered to death, had the most right to speak on this point. Mo Xiao Bai smiled. It just reminded me of something. Yun Jin had probably been possessed when he was adventuring in the bloody wilderness. It was an undeserved calamity. This made Mo Xiao Bai think of Ning Ran and Ning Feng. Suyin and Natsu Ki glanced at him and didn't ask any more questions. Natsu Ki smiled. Since we're done here, let's go back. Okay. Akatsuki Academy, entrance. Under everyone's horrified gazes, the swift Origin motorcycle rushed in and stopped in the plaza. Natsuki and the other two got off the motorcycle. Mo Xiaobai's face was a little pale. Although his cultivation had improved and his combat strength had increased, he was still not used to the speed of an experienced driver. "You're back." Yin Shue's voice came from the side. Mo Xiaobai and the other two looked up at Yin Shui. Su Yin chuckled and rushed over to hug her. She rubbed Yin Shue's face as she struggled. "Little Shui, you've broken through? Congratulations." Natsuki and Mo Xiaobai also walked over. Natsuki sized up Yin Shui, then glared at Su Yin and smiled. "All right, Yo-Yo, pay attention to your image outside." Su Yin rolled her eyes. "Can we just go back?" "No." Yin Shui blushed and shouted helplessly. Mo Xiaobai held back his laughter, which made Yin Shui glare at him angrily. Mo Xiaobai immediately became serious. "Congratulations, Xiao Shui. You've opened 5 apertures. That's amazing." Yin Shui's anger immediately dissipated. She raised her eyebrows slightly and snorted. "It's okay." Mo Xiaobai laughed in his heart. This guy was much better than the cold look he had when they first met. Natsuki looked around at the students who were sizing them up from time to time and frowned slightly. "All right, let's go back." Yes, let's go back." Mo Xiaobai nodded repeatedly. He felt too many jealous gazes. If he continued to stay here, he suspected that he would be torn apart by those jealous male compatriots. His body turned cold at the thought. "What did you say? The Blood King's subordinate possessed an adventurer and left the Wall of Blood?" Desolate Blood City, Desolate Blood Army Headquarters, Yin Qi's office. Yin Qi listened to the report and stood up abruptly, his expression ugly. What happened to the mother of blood demons? After Yin Qi cut off the communication, Ing Shuefei frowned. "The Blood King has control of an escape route that we can't monitor?" Yin Qi frowned. "Yes, it said that he possessed an adventurer and left. He went to Iron Mountain City and made contact with the Shadow Cult." Ing Shuefei frowned even more. "Made contact with an evil god? What's his purpose?" Yin Qi nodded slowly. After a moment of silence, he said, I'm not sure yet. Azure Edge is still investigating. Let's contact the mother of blood devils first." With that, he took out a simple blood-colored mirror and injected his force into it. Suddenly, the mirror flickered, and Shun Sha's incomparably beautiful yet devilish appearance appeared in the mirror. Chapter 309. General Yin, are you suddenly contacting me because you miss me? Shun Sha smiled. Her seductive voice sounded. "I have something to tell you." Yin Qi was expressionless, but Ing Shuefei's mouth twitched. She looked at Shun Sha with cold eyes. In the mirror, Shun Sha changed her posture. Her snow-white thighs rested on the blood-red chair. "What is it?" "The Blood King's men have left the ruins." Shun Sha paused. Shun Sha's body froze. She raised her head slightly and frowned at Yin Qi. Yin Qi didn't dodge. He looked straight into Shun Sha's blood-red eyes. The two looked at each other for a moment. Shun Sha slowly spoke with a firm voice. "That's impossible. My 4 children take turns guarding the ruins. The Blood King's men have no chance to leave." Yin Qi's eyes flickered. "Then you have to see if there's a problem with your children." Shun Sha chuckled. "Do you think I'll be so easily instigated by you?" She paused, then slowly spoke. "What's the exact situation?" Yin Qi told her about Yun Jin being possessed and how he went to Iron Mountain City to conspire with the Shadow Sect. Shun Sha's red lips curled up. "I think that closing your blood wall will solve the problem." Before Yin Qi could speak, she continued asking, "Then, what kind of cooperation does the Blood King's men have with the Shadow Sect?" "I'm not sure yet." Shun Sha nodded and didn't say anything else. Yin Qi continued, "I hope you can pay more attention to guarding the Guardian Ruins. Also, I'll send experts from the Desolate Blood Army to guard it." Shun Sha stretched lazily, revealing her beautiful and seductive curves. "I'm fine with it, as long as you're not afraid of my children eating your men." Yin Qi narrowed his eyes and looked coldly at Shun Sha. "I hope you can understand that we're now in a cooperative relationship." "Haha, I'm just joking. Why are you so serious, General Yin?" Shun Sha supported her cheek with her right hand and smiled at Yin Qi. Yin Qi took a deep breath and slowly spoke. "That's all. I hope you can understand that after the Blood King comes out, you'll be in more danger than the desolate Blood Army. With that, he cut off the communication. The ancient mirror returned to its original state. Putting away the mirror, Ing Shuifei, who had been silent all this time, frowned, a trace of disgust flashing in her eyes. Is that blood devil really sincere in cooperating with us? Yanqi rubbed his forehead and smiled. She should know that after the Blood King recovers, the first thing he will do is come after her. She wouldn't dare be careless. I hope so. In the depths of the bloody wilderness, the bloody demon cave, Shinsha put away the mirror. She narrowed her eyes and stared at the cliff in front of her that seemed to be dyed red with blood. The light in his eyes flickered. No one knew what he was thinking. The entire hall fell into silence. A moment later, she closed her eyes and transmitted a message in her mind. Yundi observed Shiwu, Lu Deng, and Zhuoxi. Amidst the haze, news soon came back. Yes, Spider Lady Yundi was different from the other 3 blood sons. She was nurtured by her own power, and the 2 of them were interdependent. There would definitely be no betrayal between them. After returning to the Akatsuki Academy, Emo Xiaobai once again went back to his regular life. Increasing his cultivation level, cultivating passive origin skills, attending classes, occasionally testing medicine for Natsu Ki, and sometimes being dragged to battle by Suyin. Ever since Emo Xiaobai killed the 7-aperture Yunjin, Suyin knew that he had the power to fight with a 7-aperture cultivator, so she kept looking for him to battle. Of course, he was the one getting beaten up. Life was very peaceful and comfortable. Emo Xiaobai was very happy with this life. Other than testing medicine and fighting with Suyin, he was very happy with this life. 2 weeks later, Yin Yin fulfilled her promise and told them about the cooperation between the Blood King and the Shadow Sect. He didn't know how Yin Yin asked. The group sat on the couch and digested the news. Darkness Origin Crystal. Elemental Land? What is that? Suyin scratched her head in confusion. Yin Shui and Natsu Ki were also confused. Emo Xiaobai thought of something and took out a black crystal shard. The crystal shard flashed with red light. The 3 of them were attracted by the dazzling red light. Legendary item. Suyin stared at the black crystal shard in shock. Xiaobai, when did you get such a powerful thing? Emo Xiaobai smiled. This might be the Darkness Origin Crystal Shard. Hearing this, the 3 of them widened their eyes and looked at Emo Xiaobai numbly. Don't tell me you got this from some lucky place? Yin Shui said. Emo Xiaobai smiled. How is that possible? Yin Shui and the other 2 breathed easy. Otherwise, their mentality would really explode. However, in the next moment, Emo Xiaobai's words caused their expressions to freeze. Didn't I destroy the God's Descent ceremony at Yujiang? I picked this up at the scene. Emo Xiaobai thought for a while. I remember I picked up 7 pieces. I forgot about them. The 3 of them were speechless. They looked at Emo Xiaobai, dumbfounded. Forgot about them? Forgot about them. 7 legendary items. Forgot about them just like that. Emo Xiaobai saw the 3 strange expressions and was puzzled. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Suyin gritted her teeth and forced a smile. Nothing. My hands are just itching. She clenched her fists. Emo Xiaobai instinctively moved away from Suyin. Every time her hands were itching, she wanted to spar with him. More or less, she wanted to beat him up. I also have a new potion that I want to try, Natsu Ki said with a smile. Emo Xiaobai was speechless. He coughed softly and changed the topic. Let's talk about the fragments of the Darkness Origin Crystal. Yin Shui and the other 2 looked at the fragments. Natsuki narrowed her eyes and was deep in thought. Xiaobai, you said you only picked up fragments? 7 fragments. There might have been more, right? But it should have been destroyed by the backlash of the God's Descent ceremony. Just a fragment is already a legendary item. Then what level would a complete Darkness Origin Crystal be at? Demigod? Or a godly item? It's that precious? To be able to trade something so precious. It seems like the Land of Elements isn't that simple. Land of Elements. Have you heard of such a place? Emo Xiaobai looked at the 3 of them. The 3 of them were the heirs of the top families in Azure. They should know more than him. Natsuki and the other two shook their heads at the same time. Su-in said, "From a name, it sounds like the place where the elements are. Maybe the elders in our family know about it." Natsuki said with a smile, "Maybe the ancestors know more about it." He was referring to saint-level and demigod experts. Su-in and Yin Shui both nodded. "Then let's go and find out more," Mo Xiaobai said with a smile. He was very curious about this. Moreover, since it was about the Yujiang, he felt that he had to be careful. If they really completed the trade, the shadow cult would be able to hold a new god's descent ceremony after obtaining a new darkness origin crystal. After the previous lesson, they would definitely be on guard. Mo Xiaobai didn't think that he could easily destroy the god's descent ceremony like last time. If the Yujiang god really descended one day and slapped him to death, he wouldn't even have a place to cry. He felt that he couldn't avoid the god's malice because he had the destiny line. It was best not to let the Yujiang god descend. Chapter 310. Finally, it's over. In the dormitory building, Su-in stretched and smiled contentedly. Natsuki glanced at the building and out the window. She had a complicated smile on her face. This is probably the last few days we'll be in school. Su-in came back to her senses. She smiled reluctantly. "I didn't expect to graduate so soon." 6 years passed in the blink of an eye. She glanced at Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui. She chuckled, especially after Xiaobai and Xiao Shui came. Speaking of this, she hugged Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui's shoulders with a smirk on her face. "After we leave, there will be only the two of you living here. You'll be alone. You must be careful." Yin Shui blushed when she heard that. As she struggled, she cried out, "Sisterine, what are you talking about?" As she spoke, she glared at Mo Xiaobai. Mo Xiaobai's mind was filled with question marks. "I didn't say it. Why are you glaring at me?" Yin Shui snorted and looked away. Mu Xiaodong smiled as well. "I think it's possible." Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui looked at each other. Mo Xiaobai said, "Don't worry. How is that possible?" "Absolutely not." Yin Shui nodded firmly. Mo Xiaobai felt that it was inappropriate to continue this conversation. He changed the topic. "By the way, Sister Xiaotong, Sisterine, what do you two plan to do after graduation?" Su-in rubbed her chin and smiled. "I'll team up with Tong Tong. Then we'll go find the land of elements." Natsuki smiled. "That's what I thought too. Ever since they found out about the land of elements, they had done a lot of research. In addition, they had chatted with the elders at home, so they had a certain understanding of it. They were all very curious about the elemental lands." Mo Xiaobai nodded. "Let us know if you find anything." "Don't worry. I definitely won't forget you." Su-in patted Mo Xiaobai's shoulder. At this point, Su-yin's eyes lit up as if she had thought of something. "Oh, right. Why don't we set up an adventure team?" Adventure team? Mo Xiaobai, Yin Shui, and Natsuki were stunned. "Yeah, the four of us should form an adventure team. How fun would that be?" Mo Xiaobai and the other two looked at each other. Natsuki narrowed his eyes and smiled. "Sounds interesting." "I agree." Yin Shui smiled. "I agree too." Mo Xiaobai nodded. "Then let's do it. Then I want to be the team leader." Su-in raised her hand proudly. "I'm the one who suggested it. I'll be the team leader. Is there a problem?" Natsuki naturally didn't mind. Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui didn't mind either. As a matter of course, Su-in became the leader. "Right, since we're setting up an adventure team, what should we name it?" Yin Shui asked. This made the three of them think. One man and 3 women adventure team? Su-in was a little uncertain. The three of them. The air suddenly became silent. Mo Xiaobai and the other two looked at Su-in in horror. Mo Xiaobai was stunned. What kind of name is this? This was the first time he realized that Su-yin's naming skills were so terrifying. Yin Shui directly said, "Sister In forbids naming." Huh? Why? Su-in didn't realize it at all. Natsuki smiled at the indignant Su-in and said, "I agree with Xiao Shui." Su-in, she silently squatted in the corner and shut herself up. The remaining 3 people looked at each other. Yin Shui cleared her throat and said, "I'm sorry. Smiling Dolls Adventure Team?" Mo Xiaobai, how much do you like dolls? Mo Xiaobai had entered Yin Shui's room a few times. This guy's room was filled with dolls. Beside the pillow was the puppy doll that Mo Xiaobai had given her. Of course, it was there the first time he went in. After that, Mo Xiaobai couldn't find the doll. Mo Xiaobai curiously asked her where the doll went and was chased out of the room by her. He still didn't understand what had happened. Is it not nice? Yin Shui glanced at Mo Xiaobai and then at Natsu Ki. Her eyes were shining as if she was seeking approval. Before Natsu Ki could say anything, Su Yin, who was squatting in the corner, raised her hand. It's not nice. It's not domineering at all. Mo Xiaobai was speechless. What was so domineering about your stupid adventure team name? He couldn't be bothered to say anything. It's still better than your adventure team name. Sisterine, Mo Xiaobai didn't say anything, but Yin Shui retorted. Resolutely defend the dignity of dolls. Natsu Ki smiled, put in the alternative. She thought for a moment and said, then my adventurer team is called White Tong Yin Shui Adventurer Team. As she said this, Natsu Ki was a little shy, which was rare for her. She glanced at Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui. What do you think? Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui both froze. Before they could say anything, they heard a burst of laughter coming from the corner. The laughter was very suppressed. The three of them turned their heads and saw Su Yin huddled in the corner. She was covering her mouth, and her shoulders were still trembling. Natsu Ki's face flushed red with embarrassment. Su Yin seemed to have sensed their gazes. Her body stiffened, and she turned her head mechanically. When she met their gazes, Su Yin quickly put on a straight face. I think it's not bad. She nodded firmly, but her trembling shoulders betrayed her. Mu Xiaodong smiled and quickly put away her shyness and awkwardness. Let's not talk about mine. Little White, tell me about yours. Mo Xiaobai felt a lot of pressure under their gazes. He didn't expect these three guys to be bad at naming. That was terrifying. Sure enough, he still needed to step up and save the world. He smiled confidently. Xiaobai Adventurer Team. After seeing the three people's stiff faces, Mo Xiaobai coughed dryly. Not good? Of course not. The four of them had no choice but to rack their brains and continue to think. After a while, they sprawled on the sofa with salted fish faces. I can't do it. My brain is broken. Su Yin covered her head and wailed. My head hurts too. Yin Shui also rubbed her forehead. Natsu Ki also smiled bitterly. Mo Xiaobai exhaled. I'd rather fight a 7-apertured master than name it. At this moment, Mo Xiaobai remembered what the soul of Double Capital said during the Sacred Mountain trial. He sat up abruptly. I know what name it should be. The other three looked over. Let's call it the Primordial Adventure Team. The three of them looked at each other and nodded at the same time. That's it. They really didn't want to think about it anymore. Thus, the Adventure Team was decided. After confirming the Adventurer Team, Natsu Ki stood up with a smile. All right, get ready. Then, go to my lab and help me pack up the medicine refining equipment. Since they were going to graduate, they naturally had to take the medicine refining equipment. Mo Xiaobai and the other two nodded. Chapter 311. Northern Blue Region, Jinlin City. Mo Xiaobai, Yin Shui, Su Yin, and Natsu Ki purchased a pass for the Jinlin Void Domain. They passed the inspection and entered the domain. The Jinlin Void Domain was a rank 5 Purgatory Void Domain. This was the first location that Mo Xiaobai and the others had chosen for their adventure team. A rank 5 Purgatory Void Domain meant that the Demon Overlord should be at the 6 Aperture level. A Lord-level Demon Overlord would be extremely powerful. It might not be weaker than a 7 Aperture Body Fundamentalist, or even stronger. To Mo Xiaobai's group of 4, this combat strength was just right. It wouldn't be too strong, but it wouldn't be unchallenging either. With a flash of light, Mo Xiaobai and the others appeared in the plaza of the adventurers' encampment. Rays of dazzling sunlight shot into Mo Xiaobai's eyes, causing him to squint. His gaze flashed across his surroundings, and he discovered that there was a gigantic sun hanging in the sky. The sun was so close to the ground that it seemed to be right in front of him. It was a dazzling golden color. The high temperature made Mo Xiao Bai feel a little hot. Is this Jinlin's city? Yin Shui looked around and frowned. The temperature is so high. This kind of temperature wasn't good for a body fundamentalist with ice affinity. Natsuki and Su Yin were also curious. They had never been to this domain before. Su Yin grinned. I hereby announce that the first adventure of our primordial adventurer team has begun. Mo Xiaobai and the others glanced at the smug Su Yin. They didn't feel anything. She was overjoyed to be the team leader. Let's go out first. Natsuki smiled. The four walked out of the plaza and walked out of the city along the main road. Along the way, Mo Xiaobai discovered that there were fewer adventurers in this void domain than in any other void domain he had been to before. Most of the adventurers were 6 aperture, and there were 5 aperture ones as well. There were even 7 apertured adventurers. Many of the adventurers who came and went seemed to know each other. Looking at Mo Xiaobai's group of 4, many adventurers revealed curious and probing expressions. They were unfamiliar faces. Mo Xiaobai did not find this strange. The 5th rank Purgatory Void domain was too dangerous. Only a 6-apertured body fundamentalist could guarantee their safety. There weren't as many fundamentalists at this level as there were at lower levels. Other body fundamentalists with insufficient cultivation and combat strength would probably choose to venture into the nightmare or even the hardship void domains. No matter how bountiful the harvest was, one had to be alive to enjoy it. After walking out of the void domain, Mo Xiaobai discovered that the adventurer's encampment was in a forest of golden trees. These golden trees had an extremely high tolerance for temperature. Even under such high temperatures, it was still able to maintain an exuberant vitality. This was how the Golden Forest Void Domain got its name. Following the small path outside the city, Mo Xiaobai's group of 4 entered the Golden Forest. Not long after, a muffled roar could be heard. From the Golden Forest, a giant wolf-like monster with a shoulder height of about 5 meters and a body covered in golden scales rushed out. Its eyes flickered with a golden-red flame, and its aura was powerful. The surrounding temperature also increased by quite a bit. Yen Shui's expression changed slightly. Golden-scaled flame wolf? A leader-level monster, 5th rank, 6th rank. Natsuki narrowed his eyes and looked at the golden-scaled flame wolf that was crouching and slowly approaching. He smiled and said, I didn't expect to encounter a leader-level monster as soon as we entered the forest. As expected of a purgatory void domain, it's really dangerous. It must be known that a leader-level monster was enough to become a king in a nightmare-level void domain. While they were talking, the golden-scaled flame wolf had already roared and pounced at them. Its body was covered in golden flames, and its aura was surging. But just as it pounced over, Su Yin's body ignited with red flames. A stream of flames soared into the sky and instantly penetrated the golden-scaled flame wolf's body. The flames on the golden-scaled flame wolf's body quickly dimmed, and its corpse fell heavily to the ground. Its flesh began to thin, and transcendent materials began to seep out. Su Yin lowered her head and looked at the corpse on the ground. She was also a little surprised. This guy's flames are so strong. Its essence is very high. Mo Xiaobai smiled. It's said that the demons and monsters here have a certain chance of seeping out golden flame crystals that can increase one's fire-type talent. It's just right for you. Su Yin's eyes flashed with a hint of expectation. She chuckled. That will depend on your luck, Xiaobai. You have to give it a try. Mo Xiaobai rolled his eyes. For this kind of thing, if you're sincere, why don't you worship me? I'll hit you. Su Yin clenched her fists. Mo Xiaobai immediately stopped talking. The item has seeped out. Yin Shui walked forward and picked up the item. They were all transcendent materials and origin crystals. There wasn't even any heaven-forged equipment or origin skill crystals, let alone golden flame crystals. Su Yin's face was filled with disappointment. Let's go deeper. We just arrived, so there's no need to rush. Natsuki smiled. Golden Forest, Void Domain, Golden Flame Mountain Range. Mo Xiaobai's group of 4 looked at the flickering humanoid figure formed from golden flames on the barren mountain range. Is this the Golden Flame Spirit? Yin Shue's white forehead was covered in sweat. The temperature was too high. She exhaled and looked at the golden flame spirit in the distance with some apprehension. A mutated golden flame spirit. I don't know why it mutated in the void domain, or if there's something special about this place. Let's look for it. Mo Xiaobai nodded. The golden flame spirit here was one of their goals in coming to the Golden Forest void domain. After learning about the elemental grounds, they naturally began to look for this place. From their point of view, since it was a place where elemental spirits lived and they hadn't found such a place in Azure, they would look for it in the void domain. Many void domains had elemental spirits. The Golden Forest void domain was one of them, and it was one of the more special ones. This was because the golden flame spirit here was a mutated golden flame spirit. Natsuki narrowed his eyes, a gentle smile still on his face. It said that there's a golden flame overlord here. It's extremely powerful, and as long as it dies, it'll definitely produce golden flame crystals. Su Yin's eyes flashed with a trace of anticipation. Let's go and try to kill that guy. Mo Xiaobai nodded. He looked towards the depths of the Golden Flame mountain range. There, rays of dazzling red light flowed, even covering the dazzling sunlight. He looked away after a glance and followed Natsuki, Su Yin, and Yin Shui into the mountain range. At the same time, as Mo Xiaobai and the rest entered the Golden Flame mountain range, there were also a few adventurer teams that were active in the Golden Flame mountain range. Some were hunting for golden flame spirits, while others were deep in the Golden Flame mountain range. Chapter 3:12. Asterisk Chi. Asterisk frost flowers enveloped the spirit of the Golden Flame. Flames and frost came into contact with each other, causing white smoke to spread and a hissing sound to be heard. Flames countered frost, and frost countered flames in turn. The flames on the Golden Flame spirit dimmed, and its aura weakened significantly. Streaks of silver-white sword aura flashed past and killed the weakened Golden Flame spirit. The Golden Flames dissipated, leaving behind a golden stone, some origin crystals, and supernatural materials. Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui did not rest. They turned around and joined Natsuki, Su Yin, and the remaining Golden Flame spirits in battle. Before long, hundreds of Golden Flame spirits were all dead. Su Yin rubbed her shoulders. There are quite a lot of Golden Flame spirits here, but they don't seem to be any different from the other elemental spirits. The supernatural materials seem to be very common. Natsuki looked around. They were now in a barren rift valley. There were some cracks on the ground, and golden red lava would spurt out from the cracks from time to time. The air was somewhat distorted by the high temperature. She looked into the depths of the rift valley. The deeper we go, the stronger the Golden Flame spirits are. There might be different rewards in the depths. Mo Xiaobai glanced into the depths of the rift valley. One of the dazzling lines of good luck that Mo Xiaobai saw outside the mountain range was floating there. He nodded slightly. I agree with Sister Xiaotong. Let's go in and take a look. He turned to Yin Shui. How are you feeling? Tired? Yin Shui wiped the sweat off her forehead and shook her head slightly. There was a hint of distress on her face. I'm not tired, just a little hot. As she spoke, the origin power in her body surged, and frost covered her body. Only then did her complexion look better. Let's go deeper. The four of them set off again, killing the Golden Flame spirits along the way, and soon arrived at the depths. There was no path in the depths of the Rift Valley, and there was only a stream of golden red lava flowing nearby. There was a small cave in the innermost wall. Mo Xiaobai and the rest could feel a powerful aura coming from within. Su Yin raised her eyebrows, and the flames on her body started burning again. The Golden Flame spirit inside is not simple. Roar. As soon as Su Yin finished speaking, a roar came from the cave, and the unknown Golden Flame spirit rushed out with a blazing wind. The magma river boiled, and flames jumped. A 5-meter-tall Golden Flame spirit walked out of the cave. This was a 6-apertured commander-tier Golden Flame spirit. He glanced at Mo Xiaobai and the other three and said in a low voice, "Puny mortals, how dare you invade my territory?" Die! Boom! All of a sudden, the lava river erupted. Golden flame spirits rushed out from the lava river and surrounded Mo Xiaobai and the others. Their attacks were unceremoniously directed towards Mo Xiaobai and the other three. Suyin waved the long spear in her hand and grinned. Her eyes flashed with battle intent. I'll deal with that big guy. The rest is yours. As she spoke, she stomped on the ground and turned into a ball of flames, rushing towards Yin Rui. Mo Xiaobai stomped on the ground, and the void sword array appeared. Streaks of terrifying sword light rushed out and tore the golden flame spirits apart. Natsu Ki waved the staff in her hand and buffed Suyin, Mo Xiaobai, and Yin Shui with origin skills. As a nature-type body fundamentalist, she had no way to deal with a fire-type enemy. The wood spirits that were summoned were quickly burned to ashes. Yin Shui, on the other hand, continued to draw her longbow. Terrifying attacks surged like a frost storm, sweeping towards the golden flame spirit that Mo Xiaobai had missed. Boom! In the distance, Suyin and Yin Rui's battle caused a huge commotion. It was as if two balls of flames were colliding with each other. The aftermath of the blazing heat wreaked havoc. Cracks appeared on the ground and cliffs of the Rift Valley and spread. Gravel fell to the ground. An early-stage 6 Apertures leader was not weak. However, compared to Suyin, there was still a big gap. He was completely suppressed by Suyin as soon as he came into contact with her. Golden flames kept falling like blood during the collision. Not long after, Yin Rui's body flew backwards and landed heavily on the cliffs. The rocks on the cliffs were crystallized by the flames. The flames on Yin Rui's body became much dimmer. Suyin was about to continue her attack when Natsu Ki stopped her. Yo, wait. Suyin looked at her doubtfully. What's wrong, Tong Tong? Natsu Ki rolled her eyes at Suyin. This guy is quite intelligent. Don't you want to ask about the elemental land? Hearing this, Suyin remembered. She scratched her head and chuckled. I forgot. As she spoke, she pointed her flaming spear at Yin Rui. Big guy, where's your elemental land? Roar. However, Yin Rui's temper was not very good. He did not want to talk to Suyin at all. He roared and rushed forward again. TSK. Suyin smacked her lips. The flames on her spear suddenly surged. Many fire dragons rushed out. 4 fire dragons roared and bit Yin Rui's limbs. The remaining 4 fire dragons penetrated his body. Boom! Yin Rui's body slammed heavily on the cliffs again. The cliffs caved in and cracks appeared. After being hit again, Yin Rui's body shrank from 5 meters to 2 meters. His flames seemed to be extinguished by the gravel. Suyin looked at Yin Rui. The flames in her eyes were burning. I'll ask you one more time. Where's the elemental land? Yin Rui, who was weak, was not as violent as before. He said in a low voice, Elemental land? What's that? Mo Xiaobai and the other 3 looked at each other in dismay. The golden flame spirit here did not know. Boom! Suyin waved her spear. A flame spear penetrated Yin Rui's body and killed him. Soon, Yin Rui's body separated the items. One of them was a necklace flashing with orange light. The necklace was a golden pearl. There seemed to be a golden flame burning inside. An epic necklace? Mo Xiaobai raised his eyebrows and smiled. It seems to increase the power of flames. Sister Yin, it suits you. He threw the necklace to Suyin. Suyin took the necklace and smiled happily. My necklace is not as good as this one. It's good. Yin Shui sighed softly. It's a pity that he doesn't know where the elemental land is. Natsu Ki narrowed her eyes and smiled. This guy is only a leader. He's not the lord of the Golden Flame mountain range. Maybe he doesn't have the right to know. Of course, it's also possible that he's lying to us. Mo Xiaobai nodded. Since the leader doesn't know, let's find the Golden Flame Lord first. Mo Xiaobai said and walked towards Yin Rui's cave. What's wrong? The 3 looked at Mo Xiaobai in confusion. Mo Xiaobai looked at the string of good luck floating out of the cave and smiled. This is the leader's cave. There should be something good, right? Chapter 3:13. Walking into the cave, Mo Xiaobai saw a pile of bones and equipment in the corner. Natsuki and the other two walked in and frowned when they saw the bones. Looks like many adventurers died here. Suine pursed her lips. Mo Xiaobai nodded. The string of good luck was wrapped around these things, and Yin Rui. He walked over and picked up everything. There were a few space rings among them. Mo Xiaobai and the other three opened them and even found a broken golden flame crystal. The golden flame crystal was naturally for Suine. Mo Xiaobai and the other two divided the rest. After dividing the spoils, Mo Xiaobai and the other three walked out of the Rift Valley. Looking at the two paths, Suine looked at Mo Xiaobai. Xiaobai, which way should we go? He looked at Suine and couldn't help but laugh. Aren't you the leader? Do you still need me to lead the way? Suine blushed and felt a little awkward. Then she said confidently, You're lucky. If you don't lead the way, who will? Mo Xiaobai looked around. Both paths led deep into the mountain range. However, the left path had a few deeper strings of good luck. He smiled and said, Let's go to the left. Deep in the Golden Flame mountain range, a group of people was fighting with the Golden Flame spirits. Black mist surged on their bodies and killed the Golden Flame spirits one by one. Soon, all the Golden Flame spirits were killed. The leader of the group, a middle-aged night creature, exhaled and looked forward. According to the map we bought, the Golden Flame Mountain is not far from here. Golden Flame Overlord Yen Xian is there. Sir, is there really an entrance to the land of elements here? A rabbit-human man asked. The night creature man looked at him and said calmly, I don't know. Since the higher-ups asked us to check, we'll just do it. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Yes, let's rest and continue. Mo Xiaobai's group of four quickly ventured deep into the Golden Flames mountain range. Along the way, they had gained quite a bit, including spiritual herbs, high-grade transcendent materials, and heaven-forged equipment. Even if they didn't find the elemental land, they wouldn't lose anything this time. Suine giggled. As expected, Xiaobai's luck is really good. Every time we let Xiaobai lead the way, we will gain something. Natsuki smiled. Too bad Xiaobai hasn't graduated yet. Even she couldn't believe her eyes. After entering this place just once, Shifeng had already obtained 3 epic items. There were even more mythic items. As the eldest daughter of the Yin family, she was naturally knowledgeable. Even if it was a purgatory void domain, the rewards were still too great. Yin Shui pursed her lips and chuckled. If there's a chance, let's visit purgatory void domains more often. Even if there were many things that they couldn't use, they could still sell them or exchange them for items of the same level that they could use. Mo Xiaobai, on the other hand, was unperturbed. What was there to be excited about with such a small thing? If they encountered a void domain, wouldn't they be overjoyed? He looked at the mountain in front of him, which was considered extremely tall, even the Golden Flame mountain range, and his expression turned serious. Golden Flame Mountain is just ahead. Let's be careful. Natsuki and the other two came back to their senses and nodded. They moved toward Golden Flame Mountain, but at this moment, they heard the roar of a battle in the distance. The 4 of them looked at each other with a change of expression. Adventurers? Suine furrowed his brows. Should we go over and take a look? Yin Shui took out her frost longbow. Mo Xiaobai and Natsuki looked at each other. Mo Xiaobai smiled. Let's go over and take a look. It's best if there's no conflict. Xiaobai is right. Let's understand the other party's situation first. Perhaps they're also here for the Golden Flame Overlord. The 4 of them quietly moved toward the direction of the battle and soon approached the battlefield. On the barren ridge, 6 adventurers were fighting with a group of Golden Flame spirits. These 6 adventurers were all at the 7 apertures level, and the shield-wielding barbarian in the lead had a powerful aura. Even among the 7 apertures level, he was a powerhouse. Most of the Golden Flame spirits were at the level of a leader, and there were even 2 leaders who had just entered the 6th level. The other Golden Flame spirits' combat strength was not bad, but the 2 leaders were not weak and posed a threat to the 6 adventurers. Even so, the situation still favored the adventurer team. Natsuki narrowed his eyes. This team is quite strong and has good teamwork. They should be an adventurer team that has worked together for a long time. Suine nodded. Judging from their strength, I'm afraid they're also here for the Golden Flame Overlord. What should we do? Yin Shui looked at Natsuki and Suin, and then at Emo Xiaobai. Xiaobai, what do you think? Natsuki looked at Emo Xiaobai. Emo Xiaobai was also looking at the battlefield. Those adventurers' lines of fate were all white. It wasn't that they weren't a threat, but that they didn't have any evil intentions. Of course, this was only for now. If they discovered that their target was the same, things would definitely change. If they attacked now, there was a high chance that this adventurer team would be wiped out here. Even if they fought head-on, this adventurer team would not be their match. It had been a few months since the battle between Iron Mountain City and the Shadow Sect. Suin and Natsuki were both at the peak of the 6 apertures level, and Mo Xiaobai was at the 4th rank of the 5 apertures level. In addition to his own passive origin skills, his combat strength had increased explosively. Although this adventure team was strong, they were stronger. However, Mo Xiaobai still shook his head slightly. He couldn't get over the fact that he had killed these adventurers without any grievances or enmity. Let's go in another direction. Natsuki and the others nodded. Okay. They had no intention of taking the opportunity to attack. Mo Xiaobai's group of 4 stealthily changed directions and continued deeper into Golden Flame Mountain. Before long, Mo Xiaobai's group of 4 arrived at the foot of Golden Flame Mountain. At this moment, they heard movement behind them. Mo Xiaobai's group of 4 turned around and found that it was the adventurer team from before. The members of the adventurer team were also stunned when they saw Mo Xiaobai's group. They frowned and sized up Mo Xiaobai's group. Soon they were stunned. 2 peaked 6 apertures. That was one thing, but 2 5 apertures? One was at the 4th rank of the 5 apertures level, while the other was at the 2nd rank. Were they here to die? No. How did they get up here? Adventurers who could cultivate to the 7 apertures level were no fools. There were many golden flame spirits wandering around Golden Flame Mountain. If they were lucky, they might even encounter a golden flame leader. How had these 4 people managed to get here with their cultivation? The adventurers looked at Mo Xiaobai's group of 4 in shock. However, their target seemed to be Golden Flame Mountain as well. 6 and 5 apertures level fundamentalists. Were they planning to take down the Golden Flame leader? The adventurers had strange expressions when they thought of this possibility. Chapter 314. Mo Xiaobai and the other 3 did not expect the adventurer team to take care of the Golden Flame spirits so quickly. Both sides fell silent. After a moment of silence, the leading barbarian asked, "Are the 4 of you here for the Golden Flame Overlord as well?" Mo Xiaobai nodded. "Yes. Your cultivation is too low and you're too young. Maybe you're geniuses with extraordinary strength, but the Golden Flame Overlord is a Lord-tier elemental spirit. It's not as simple as you think. Listen to my advice. Go down the mountain, or you'll die for nothing." The barbarian smiled honestly as he persuaded Mo Xiaobai and the other 3. At the same time, they slowly walked over. Mo Xiaobai squinted his eyes. In his vision, the lines of providence of the barbarian and the others had turned from white to black when he said that they were here for the Golden Flame Overlord. It was obvious that they were going to attack them. As the barbarian approached, Mo Xiaobai's origin power began to surge. 3 battle runes appeared on his forehead. Battle runes erupted. At the same time, Flame Demon's Fury, Blood Origin Battle Form, and other forces were activated. His aura suddenly increased and became extremely terrifying. "Attack," he said coldly. At the same time, he stomped on the ground and disappeared on the spot. He charged toward the 2 elementalists in robes at the back of the adventurer team. The leading barbarian and the female human with a heavy sword were vigilant. When Mo Xiaobai made his move, they also activated their origin power and their expressions turned cold. Before this, they had been maintaining a good formation. The barbarian swung his heavy shield. There was a thick yellow light on it, and it was like a small mountain crashing toward Mo Xiaobai. The female human's heavy sword was filled with sword will. She leaped high with both hands and slashed at Mo Xiaobai. At this moment, a ball of fire surged from behind Mo Xiaobai. The fire bloomed like a red lotus. 8 fire dragons roared and charged toward the barbarian and the female human. Boom! A collision sound was heard. The mountain-like shield attack and sharp sword were blocked by the fire dragons. The aftershock and wind pressure surged in all directions, wreaking havoc. At this moment, Mo Xiao Bai had already broken through their suppression and dashed towards the 2 elementalists. What? The barbarian man and the human woman were the strongest in the team. Their expressions changed when they saw that Su Yin had blocked their attacks by herself. Stop this man. Black light flashed in the eyes of the night creature man wielding 2 short swords. Black fog was released from his body, enveloping both him and Mo Xiao Bai. Seeing nothing but darkness, Mo Xiao Bai sneered. The heavy sword in his hand carried an incomparably sharp golden sword aura as it slashed towards his right rear. In that direction, the Providence line was grayish-black. Clang! The sound of metal clashing rang out as the black fog churned and the night creature man was sent flying. He hovered in the air, his sword-wielding hands trembling slightly. He looked at the black fog in disbelief, his expression ugly. How did this guy detect my location? Within the black fog, Mo Xiao Bai charged out. As soon as he charged out, a thunder roared and a lightning spear shot towards him. The violent power made Mo Xiao Bai feel a great sense of danger. Nature's protection. At this moment, Natsuki's gentle voice rang out from behind him. Rays of emerald green light flashed and enveloped Mo Xiao Bai. The lightning spear landed heavily on the light barrier. The light barrier vibrated and blocked the lightning spear. Mo Xiao Bai took this opportunity to get closer to the 2 elementalists. On a nearby rock, an elven archer held a longbow and aimed at Mo Xiao Bai, planning to attack. At this moment, he felt a chill that filled the air, assaulting him. His expression changed as he realized that frost flowers were blooming in his mind. After the frost flowers, there was a nimble ice dragon. The cold aura made his body stiffen slightly. His expression changed drastically as he hurriedly put away his longbow, activated his movement technique, and disappeared. Boom, boom, boom. The frost flowers and the ice dragon landed heavily on the ground, forming a thick layer of ice on the scorching hot ground. In the distance, there was an ice dragon swimming around Yan Shui's body. Her icy blue eyes looked as if there was a 10,000-year-old ice flowing around. She was the weakest among the 4 of them, but she was still able to disrupt an archer who was not particularly strong among the 7 apertures. Mo Xiao Bai continued to use flowing light phantom and rushed in front of the 2 elementalists. His expression was cold as the heavy sword in his hand sliced through the 2's bodies with a sharp golden sword ray. However, when the sword light slashed through their bodies, the 2 of them turned into lightning and disappeared. Mo Xiao Bai's pupil shrank. Phantom! At this moment, rays of blue water rushed over from afar. On the other side, there was a giant lightning tiger roaring and pouncing towards them. The 2 elementalists had already retreated to the 2 sides under the lightning mirror. Mo Xiao Bai stepped lightly on the ground and spread the nether sword array. Countless sword rays rushed towards the water and the lightning tiger. Piss, piss, piss. Boom, boom, boom. The sound of collisions rang out continuously. Mo Xiao Bai was not injured. Without stacking undefeated power, he could only barely block the attacks. Just as Mo Xiao Bai was about to continue attacking, the man from Night Creature had already caught up to him. The man from Night Creature's eyes flashed coldly. His hand seals changed, and the shadows behind him seemed to come alive. Dozens of shadows rushed out and surrounded Mo Xiao Bai. In the next moment, all the shadows, including the main body, rushed towards Mo Xiao Bai. Rays of sword rays intertwined to form an impenetrable net. It was suffocating. Mo Xiao Bai narrowed his eyes and activated Battle Dragon's barrier. With a layer of nature's protection, he took a defensive stance. Take it head-on. Seeing that Mo Xiao Bai chose to take it head-on, the man from Night Creature's eyes flashed with cold, killing intent. Courting death. Piss, piss, pissed. Countless sword rays intertwined. Nature's protection had become very weak after blocking the wave of lightning spears. Now, it was torn apart in an instant. The remaining sword rays tore apart Battle Dragon's protection and slashed Mo Xiaobai's body. Sword marks appeared on his blood-red armor. Wounds also appeared on his body, and blood gushed out. Mo Xiaobai protected his vital parts and silently endured the attacks. After a while, the sword rays disappeared and all the shadows disappeared. The man from Night Creature did a somersault and landed on a rock in the distance. His face was pale and his breathing was rapid. The Thousand Shadows sword technique was his trump card. Even with his cultivation, it was difficult for him to fully master it. It was very strenuous for him to use it. However, he glanced at Mo Xiaobai, who was covered in blood, and curled his lips. The result of the battle was pretty good. The barbarian man and human woman who were fighting Su Yin had already noticed the situation on Mo Xiaobai's side. The barbarian man sneered. "Your little lover is about to die. If you run now, you can still save your lives." Su Yin glanced at him with a mocking look in her eyes. "I should be the one saying that to you guys. It's not too late for you to run now." Chapter 315. We're running. The barbarian man and the human woman were stunned. "Are you awake?" Just as they were feeling disdainful, they suddenly felt a powerful aura rising slowly not far away. The aura kept getting stronger, forming a strong wind that swept the surroundings. The expressions of the adventurer team's members changed, and they turned to look at Mo Xiaobai, who was covered in blood. The Night Creature man's pupils contracted, and he gripped the short sword in his hand tightly. "This guy is seriously injured. What's with this aura? Damn it, he's so much stronger than before." The Thunder Elementalist was a merman. His expression was terrible at the moment. He clenched his right fist, and lightning wrapped around it as he blasted it toward Mo Xiaobai. Boom! The lightning exploded where Mo Xiaobai was. The ground cracked, and lightning shot in all directions. However, when everything settled down, Mo Xiaobai was nowhere to be seen. What? The Thunder Elementalist was stunned. The Night Creature man gripped his short sword tightly, and his expression was grave. "Be careful. That guy's combat strength has gotten stronger." As soon as he finished speaking, he saw a shadow flash by, and Mo Xiaobai's body appeared in front of him. The sharp golden sword gleam pierced his eyes, and a ferocious look appeared on his thin face. Darkness wrapped around his body and formed a shadow. 2 pairs of dark arms seemed to have grown out of his back. 3 pairs of 6 arms waved their short swords at the same time. The sword will swept out and collided with the Sky-Baron breath slash. Clang, clang, clang. The sharp sword will wreaked havoc and tore flat sword marks on the ground within a few hundred meters. After blocking the golden sword gleam, before the Night Creature man could breathe a sigh of relief, he saw a bronze light flash out of the sword gleam that had yet to dissipate. Roar! A dragon's roar was heard, and a bronze dragon was reflected in the Night Creature man's eyes. Yi Ming. The Thunder Elementalist and Water Elementalist expressions changed, and they activated their force. The Thunder Armor and Water Curtain covered the Night Creature man's body at the same time. The Night Creature man also formed layers of dark shields around himself. Boom! A muffled clap of thunder exploded. As if a natural disaster had descended, the earth trembled violently, and the ground within a radius of tens of meters caved in. The Thunder Armor, Water Veil, and Darkness Shield were all torn apart by the powerful fist force, and the Night Creature man was sent flying. After flying for several hundred meters, he finally stopped on a mountain ridge. He froze on the spot and coughed dryly. A wisp of blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth, and his face became even paler. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and looked at Mo Xiaobai with eyes full of fear. The power of that attack was much stronger than before. Mo Xiaobai swung the heavy sword in his hand and grinned at the Night Creature man. That was quite painful. As he spoke, the wounds on his body had completely healed. Seeing that the crisscrossing sword marks had recovered, the pupils of Night Creature and the 2 elementalists contracted violently. How was this possible? What kind of freaking recovery speed was this? Lightning and water flashed, as the two elementalists approached the night creature man. The three of them stared fixedly at Emo Xiao Bai, their expressions extremely solemn. Is this guy a monster? At that moment, the night creature man coughed dryly again and coughed up another mouthful of blood. This mouthful of blood was slightly black, and a black aura appeared on his face as well. The other two elementalists' expressions changed drastically. Poison. The water elementalist hurriedly waved his staff, and a transparent stream of water entered the night creature man's body. The black aura on his face faded a little, but it was still there. Moreover, his aura had become increasingly weak due to the poison. Even the thunder elementalist and water elementalist faces had a hint of black aura on them. Damn it! When did this happen? The water elementalist's expression was extremely ugly. He had no idea when he had been poisoned. Emo Xiaobai grinned, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He stomped on the ground. Boom! Cracks spread like a spider web. Emo Xiaobai's body charged toward the three of them, leaving behind afterimages along the way. Block it! The night creature man and the other two had no time to care about the poison in their bodies. Emo Xiaobai was putting a lot of pressure on them. This 5-apertured level 4 body fundamentalist was enough for them to go all out against him. Emo Xiaobai appeared in front of the three of them. He clenched his left hand, and the sword formation of the void appeared in the sky. Rays of sword aura turned into sword aura dragons and shot toward the three of them. At the same time, Emo Xiaobai's heavy sword flashed with golden sword aura. He took a step forward, twisted his waist, and slashed heavily. The sharp golden sword aura tore open the ground in a crescent arc and slashed toward the night creature man. Above him was the sword formation of the void. Below him was the sky-baron breath slash. The night creature man's forehead was covered in sweat. His hand seals changed rapidly, and his aura surged. He forcefully broke free from the suppression of the two attacks. The recoil made him spit out blood again. He had no time to heal his injuries, so he turned into a stream of light and dodged the attack. Just as he dodged the attack, he saw an afterimage flash before his eyes. Emo Xiaobai had already appeared in front of him. 3 battle runes flashed on his forehead. He clenched his left fist, and a bronze dragon shadow swam. Roar! The dragon shadow surged out and slammed heavily into the night creature man's chest. Crack, crack, crack. His leather armor was torn open, and blood spurted out as he was sent flying. At this moment, the elven archer who had been distracted by Yin Shui arrived behind the night creature man. He reached out to catch the night creature man's flying body, and the terrifying impact caused him to groan. The barbarian and human woman used their strongest attacks to suppress Su Yin at the same time. At this moment, the two of them retreated. Wisps of black aura appeared on their faces. They had obviously been poisoned as well. Go! The barbarian growled, and the 6 adventurers retreated at the same time. They were extremely decisive and did not stop at all. Emo Xiaobai and Su Yin's combat strength had far exceeded their expectations. Also, they did not know which treacherous person among them had such a powerful poison-type origin skill. Everyone had been poisoned, and the longer this dragged on, the worse it would be for them. In the end, they might even die here. At this cultivation level, it was already instinctive to flee when the situation was not right. Who had not fled before? Boom! Suyin tore apart the barbarian and woman's attacks and rushed to Emo Xiaobai's side. Should we chase? Emo Xiaobai glanced in the direction they had left and then looked at Natsu Ki. Natsu Ki shook his head slightly. They've been poisoned by my corrosion of all things. If they use origin power, the corrosion will only worsen. They'll definitely go back to detoxify it. Then forget it. We won't chase. It was not that they could not catch up, but there was no need to. After all, their cultivation was still low, and killing a few 7-aperture body fundamentalists was still a bit difficult. Since they had run away, there was no need to do anything else. Then let's recover and prepare to go up the mountain. Emo Xiaobai and the others nodded. Chapter 316. Near the peak of Golden Flame Mountain, there was an empty space with a radius of about 100 meters. There There were wisps of flames burning on the empty space, and there was a rather large cave on one side of the empty space. Mo Xiaobai and the other three felt the gaze the moment they reached the peak. In the cave, balls of golden flames flowed, and a giant golden flame spirit that was more than 10 meters tall slowly walked out. A powerful aura surged. Golden Flame Overlord Yin Xian. His gaze swept across the four of them, and his deep voice was heard. "Mortals, are you here to challenge me?" Mo Xiaobai raised his eyebrows and stepped forward. "We have a question for you." "Question?" Yin Xian's voice was filled with doubt. "Yes. Do you know where the Land of Elements is?" Mo Xiaobai asked. "Land of Elements? You're looking for the Land of Elements?" Yin Xian seemed to have been provoked, and the golden flames in his eyes surged, his aura trembled, and he said furiously, "Devil's minions, you're asking for death." Overlord-level power surged, and Yin Xian clenched his fists, and a golden flame tornado appeared in his hands. The flame tornado expanded and almost covered the entire empty space. Mo Xiaobai and the other three channeled their origin power to resist the blazing flame tornado. Devil's minions? Mo Xiaobai and the other three were dumbfounded. How did they become the devil's minions? Su Yin waved her spear, and red flames surged into the tornado. Boom! The tornado exploded, and the entire mountain trembled slightly. "You got the wrong people. We're not the devil's minions. We're from Azure." Yin Xian sneered. "In the ancient times, the Night Spirit King killed our overlord in order to release the devil master he served. The six of you are no different from the devil." His attack did not stop. Balls of flames turned into miniature golden flame spirits, and they pounced on Mo Xiaobai and the other three. Mo Xiaobai and the other three were stunned when they heard Yin Xian's words. The Night Spirit King of the ancient times served the devil, and in order to release the devil, he killed the overlord of the Land of Elements? Wait, could the Blood King and the others be looking for the Land of Elements for this? To release the devil that the Blood King served? Mo Xiaobai and the other three looked at each other in dismay. Who would have thought that they were looking for the elemental lands for this reason? If that demon lord came out, it would definitely cause chaos in Azure. We are not the same as the Night Spirit King. We do not serve the demons. Mo Xiaobai explained patiently as he killed the surrounding golden flame spirits. However, Yin Xian obviously didn't believe it. His attacks didn't stop at all. Mo Xiaobai and the other three looked at each other helplessly. "Let's defeat him first," Natsuki said. Mo Xiaobai and the other two nodded. Mo Xiaobai's unyielding spirit hadn't disappeared yet. At this moment, his battle prowess was extremely strong. Together with Su Yin, the two of them charged towards Yin Xian. Yin Shui was beside Natsuki. From time to time, she would use her frost power to interfere with Yin Xian. Meanwhile, Natsuki gave Mo Xiaobai and Su Yin various buffs. Her poison had no effect on the Golden Flame Overlord. Furthermore, she had the force of nature, which was countered by the Golden Flame Overlord. She could only support Mo Xiaobai and Su Yin. Yin Xian's attacks were extremely terrifying. Even with Mo Xiaobai's strong physique, he couldn't withstand it. However, with Natsuki's healing, it was easy for him. Moreover, as he kept getting injured, his strength became stronger and stronger. His unyielding spirit was stacked tenfold. It was very easy for him. Su Yin's battle prowess was even stronger than Mo Xiaobai's. She also had fire affinity. She wouldn't be suppressed by Yin Xian. As an overlord, Yin Xian's battle prowess was stronger than most 7-apertured experts. However, he was gradually being suppressed by Mo Xiaobai and the other three. He roared angrily. Wave after wave of powerful attacks blasted towards Mo Xiaobai and the other three. The ground was filled with cracks. The mountain peak was even on the verge of collapsing. It couldn't pose a threat to Mo Xiaobai and the other three. Boom! An ancient bronze dragon pierced through Yin Xian's body, causing his flames to shoot out in all directions. Roar! Before Yin Xian could recover, 8 fire dragons rushed out. They tore at Yin Xian's body and slammed him into the stone wall. A deep hole appeared in the stone wall. Cracks spread and gravel rolled down the mountain peak. Roar! Yin Xian, who was in the deep hole, roared. Flames burned and condensed into a huge flaming sword in his hand. The huge sword slashed down. The scorching aura almost evaporated all the water in it. Mo Xiaobai and Su Yin rushed forward at the same time. All kinds of attacks met the huge flaming sword. The aftermath of the collision wreaked havoc on the mountain peak. Large pieces of gravel were constantly shaken off. While Yin Xian and Mo Xiaobai and Su Yin were in a deadlock, ice flowers enveloped Yin Xian. The ice dragons roared and slammed into Yin Xian's body. Chi-chi! Steam filled the air. Yin Xian roared in pain. His aura became weaker and the huge flaming sword dissipated. Mo Xiaobai and Su Yin's remaining attacks all landed heavily on Yin Xian's body. Their attacks were extremely powerful. The flames on Yin Xian's body were almost extinguished. His body fell heavily to the ground. His aura became extremely weak. Mo Xiaobai and Su Yin tacitly stopped their attacks. Mo Xiaobai looked at Yin Xian and said slowly, Yin Xian, we are enemies of the demons. Now that someone is looking for the land of elements, if you know where it is, you better tell me where it is. Yin Xian glanced at Mo Xiaobai and Su Yin. The flames in his eyes surged. In your dreams. Boom. His body exploded. Flames engulfed the entire area. Mo Xiaobai and the other three were sent flying by Yin Xian's self-explosion. They looked at each other. Su Yin scratched her head speechlessly. We don't want to do anything to the land of elements. Why do I feel like we're villains? Natsuki smiled. It seems that it won't be easy to find the land of elements. The elemental spirits are too wary of us. Yeah, Mo Xiaobai nodded. The Night Spirit King of the ancient era was actually a servant of the demons. That should be the Valley of Gloom, right? It seems that our guess was right. There are demons sealed in the 3 forbidden zones. I'm afraid that the Blood King wants to find the land of elements because he wants to break the demon seal. We can't let him succeed. Yeah, Mo Xiaobai and the other two nodded. Let's not talk about this. Come, let's see what Yin Xian has extracted. Su Yin ran expectantly to the area where Yin Xian had self-exploded. A red light flashed. It was a legendary grade item. It was a complete golden flame crystal. Mo Xiaobai smiled. Sister Yin has the biggest harvest this time. Natsuki and Yin Shui nodded. He, are you jealous? Once I absorb this golden flame crystal, my combat strength will increase by another level. Su Yin had a smug look on her face. Apart from the golden flame crystal, there were 2 other epic grade materials. One was a battle axe, and the other was a red fire refining essence that could be used to forge origin weapons. As for the legendary grade materials, there was an origin skill crystal. It was the giant flaming sword that Yin Xian had used at the end. It was called Fury of the Fire God. This name is a bit too exaggerated. Su Yin pursed her lips. Fury of the Fire God. Mo Xiaobai smiled. Maybe you'll scare people when you shout out this name. Su Yin rolled her eyes at Mo Xiaobai. Who's so cowardly? As she spoke, she tossed the origin skill crystal to Mo Xiaobai. You don't need it? Mo Xiaobai caught it. This origin skill required elemental affinity. Su Yin shook her head. I have quite a few legendary grade origin skills. I don't need it. Doesn't Auntie also have an affinity with fire? Can she use it? Yin Shui asked. Mo Xiaobai shook his head. My mom uses a bow. Okay, then let's sell it. Mo Xiaobai and the others weren't interested in the remaining items. They casually put them away, planning to sell them when the time came. The harvest this time is okay. I have a certain understanding of the elemental lands. Natsuki smiled as she concluded. Let's go. Wait. Mo Xiaobai glanced at the dazzling red light at the top of the mountain and smiled. I feel like there's something good at the top of the mountain. Upon hearing Mo Xiaobai's words, Natsuki and the others' eyes lit up. They all looked up at the top of the mountain. Chapter 317. They arrived at the top of Golden Flame Mountain. Su Yin looked doubtfully at the area that was less than 5 meters in radius and asked, What's the matter? She asked curiously, Xiao Bai Bai, where's the good stuff? Mo Xiao Bai glanced at a small stone at the edge of the area. There was a dazzling red light wrapped around a small stone. He smiled. Sisterine, do you know where void treasures are usually found? How would I know? I've never found a void treasure before. She said it very confidently and confidently. In fact, the number of void treasures found in the Azure Empire could be counted on one hand. Natsuki understood Mo Xiao Bai's words. Her gentle eyes were filled with surprise. Xiao Bai, you don't think there's a void treasure here, do you? Mo Xiao Bai smiled at Natsuki. Maybe there is. Yin Shui blinked. Then how do you find a void treasure? The three of them looked at Mo Xiao Bai curiously. Mo Xiao Bai smiled. The entrance to a void treasure could be anything. Maybe a small stone by the side of the road is the entrance to a void treasure. As he spoke, he kicked away the small stone beside him. The space fluctuated and a space door slowly opened. Sutin, Natsuki, Yen Shui. The three of them looked at the space door that slowly appeared. Their faces were full of shock. It's really a small stone. Sutin cried out in surprise, doubting her life. Mo Xiao Bai looked indifferent. Don't make a fuss. Let's go in. The three of them rolled their eyes at Mo Xiao Bai at the same time. This is a void treasure trove. A void treasure that might not appear even once in 100 years. How dare you say we're making a fuss? Yin Shui couldn't help but mutter. Really? I think it's okay. I've found a few before. Perhaps he was only a little excited the first 2 times. No matter what it is, once you experience it too much, it will become dull. When the three of them heard Mo Xiao Bai's words, they were speechless. What should he say at this time? So infuriating. Go in. Natsuki could not help but smile bitterly. This place is too conspicuous. Let's take the things and leave. Don't let anyone discover us. Yes. Mo Xiao Bai and the other 2 nodded. At this moment, Mo Xiao Bai and the other 3's expressions changed. They looked to the left at the same time. In Mo Xiao Bai's eyes, pitch-black lines of misfortune were flying towards them at high speed. The speed was extremely fast. On the horizon, clouds of black fog were rapidly approaching. Mo Xiao Bai and the other 3 frowned. Natsuki opened his mouth. Xiao Bai, go in and take the things. The 3 of us will stay outside. Mo Xiao Bai nodded and did not say anything. He walked into the void treasure trove. Without looking at what was inside, he directly put the 2 piles of items into a spatial ring and walked out of the void treasure trove. As soon as he came out, the black fog on the horizon had already stopped in the air, not far away from them. The black fog slowly dissipated, revealing the figures inside. The leader was a middle-aged night creature. Behind him were 4 men and women. 1 rabbit man, 2 night creatures, and an elf. Suyin frowned. A spear appeared in her hand. She sneered. Old foes. Judging from their posture, they were from the shadow cult. The 5 people from the shadow cult immediately looked at the spatial door that was slowly dissipating after Mo Xiao Bai came out. A greedy look appeared on their faces. I didn't expect there to be a void treasure trove. Well, good luck. Everyone knew that a void treasure trove was a symbol of opportunity. The resources inside were too precious and rich. It was enough for one to soar into the sky. Seeing their greedy expressions, Mo Xiao Bai raised an eyebrow. A heavy sword appeared in his hand. Don't even think about it. You won't be alive to take these void treasures. This aura is our god's mark of divine grudge. The shadow cult powerhouses who were attracted by the void treasure trove came back to their senses and noticed Mo Xiao Bai's abnormality. The next moment, the leader of the night creatures thought of something and his smile became even brighter. Brothers, today is our lucky day. I didn't expect to find Mo Xiao Bai and the others in addition to the void treasure trove. Kill them all. We'll definitely receive our god's blessing. Everyone had a fanatical look on their faces. Mo Xiao Bai and the others narrowed their eyes. The flames in Su Yin's eyes flickered. The shadow cult scum who said that last time are already dead. Ha ha ha. Do you think we're the same as Lin Shingon and the others? The middle-aged man in the lead laughed immediately. Behind him, Several members of the shadow cult also sneered. Black mist spread around them, and a powerful aura surged toward Mo Xiaobai and the others. Mo Xiaobai and the others felt far more pressure than the adventurer from before. They were indeed different from Lin, Qinggan, and the others. Mo Xiaobai narrowed his eyes. Fortunately, his unyielding strength hadn't dissipated yet. He glanced at Natsu Ki. A transparent runestone had already appeared in Natsu Ki's hand. Sky restriction. She spat out 2 words from her cherry lips. An invisible formation spread out, covering an area of more than 10 kilometers. The shadow cult powerhouses in the sky fell from the sky like birds with broken wings. The ability to fly with 7 orifices wasn't very useful for Mo Xiaobai and the others who hadn't opened their 7 orifices yet. They naturally had countermeasures. After the sky restriction, Mo Xiaobai and the others also descended from the peak. The 2 groups of people faced each other in the open space where Yin Xian had fought. They didn't show any signs of continuing to communicate. Mo Xiaobai and Su Yin stepped off the ground, charging toward the shadow cult members at the same time. Along the way, rays of light fell and enveloped the 2 of them. Their auras constantly grew stronger and more explosive. This was their own explosive origin skills, as well as the amplification origin skills that Mu Xiaodong had given them. Yin Shui drew her longbow, shooting frost arrows at the shadow cult members to protect Mo Xiaobai and Suyin. Sensing their surging aura, the shadow cult's followers' faces became slightly more solemn. The middle-aged night creature man's body was covered in pitch-black armor, and a pitch-black blade appeared in his hand. You got some skill. No wonder Lin Qinggan died at your hands. He suddenly took a step forward, and a pitch-black light flowed on his blade as he slashed at Mo Xiaobai and Suyin. The pitch-black blade light seemed to swallow all light. Suyin rushed forward, her flame dragon and red lotus erupting to meet the blade light. Boom! There was a loud explosion. The aftermath wreaked havoc, and the already cracked open space became even more cracked. The mountain peak above seemed to be on the verge of collapse. Suyin and the middle-aged night creature man were fighting. Mo Xiaobai was surrounded by 2 other night creatures. To them, Mo Xiaobai was the most important target. Yu Zhang's hatred was felt by his followers. Chapter 3:18. Of the 2 night spirit men, one was at 7 orifices level 4, while the other was at 7 orifices level 5. They were 2 full realms higher than Mo Xiaobai. One of the night spirit men who had sunken cheeks and looked like a skeleton revealed a sinister smile. To think that the good thing of killing Mo Xiaobai would fall on our phantom brothers' heads. The other man with a normal physique and a pale face who could be considered handsome smiled sinisterly as well. The credit this time is enough for us to break through to 8 orifices. At that time, we might be able to compete for the position of deputy sect master. The 2 of them discussed as though there was no one else around, as though they had already defeated Mo Xiaobai. Mo Xiaobai's expression was calm. Wisps of flames burned on his fiery red battle armor and fiery red gigantic sword. If you have time to think about this, why don't you attack and defeat me first? As he spoke, Mo Xiaobai raised his left hand. Origin power surged, and the sword formation of the void spread out with him as the center. Clang, clang, clang. Silver light flashed, and the sword gleams surged towards the 2 night spirit men like fishes swimming in the void. That's it. The withered bone knight spirit man sneered, and black mist erupted from his body. The black mist enveloped all the sword gleams, and Mo Xiaobai instantly lost his sense of them. At the same time, the handsome night spirit man stomped his right foot on the ground, and the power of darkness spread on the ground. Dong! The ground trembled, and the silver sword formation dissipated into clouds of black smoke as though it was corroded. It was an extremely well-coordinated cooperation. After crushing the sword formation of the void, the 2 night spirit men smiled. The black mist enveloped Mo Xiaobai, and a long black whip appeared in the hands of the handsome night spirit man. The long whip was like a shadow snake hiding in the black mist as it swept towards Mo Xiaobai. Swoosh! The long whip sliced through Mo Xiaobai's body, and his body turned into bubbles that dissipated on the spot. At the same time, Mo Xiaobai's body appeared beside the withered bone knight's spirit. Clang! The sound of a sword rang. The golden sword gleam flashed and sliced through the upper body of the withered bone knight's spirit. However, that intangible feeling caused Mo Xiaobai's pupils to shrink. The withered skeleton knight's spirit, which was slowly turning into black mist, actually smiled at Mo Xiaobai. It was extremely frightening. Whoosh! Behind Mo Xiaobai, a gust of wind blew past. His expression changed drastically. He turned around, retreated, and held his sword horizontally to block. Clang! The sound of metal clashing could be heard. Mo Xiaobai felt a terrifying force coming from the heavy sword, passing through his arm and entering his body. His chest felt heavy, and his bones were in excruciating pain. His body flew backward. Whoosh! The black whip once again sliced through the air, sweeping towards Mo Xiaobai, who was still in the air. The force contained within it distorted the space, as if it was enough to shatter a mountain. Mo Xiaobai's face was solemn. He forcefully stopped his body from retreating and suddenly descended. The long whip swept over his head, and the strong wind blew his black hair. The backlash from forcefully stopping his body, coupled with the explosion of hidden energy from before, caused Mo Xiaobai's face to turn pale, and he coughed out a large mouthful of blood. He looked to the front. The withered skeleton knight spirit was holding a black, thick, and long 2-meter-long club, grinning at Mo Xiaobai. Why? Do you think I'm a weak support character? No. You're wrong. I'm the support. The handsome knight spirit replied with a smile. As they spoke, the two of them did not stop attacking. The withered skeleton knight spirit stomped on the ground, and a violent force erupted. Spiderweb-like cracks spread on the ground. He wielded the big black club and smashed it towards Mo Xiaobai. Meanwhile, the handsome knight spirit's whip swam around Mo Xiaobai like a venomous snake waiting for an opportunity to strike. Mo Xiaobai felt the violent aura rushing towards him. He silently wiped away the blood at the corner of his mouth, and a smile appeared on his originally expressionless face. Interesting. His aura was like an erupting volcano, rising by a large margin once again. The Guardian's unyielding strength. The battle with the adventurer team earlier could barely be considered as intense. His unyielding strength had only increased by 3 times. Now his unyielding strength had increased by 5 times. Sensing Mo Xiaobai's explosive aura, the two knight spirit men's expressions froze. A futile struggle. The big black club brought with it howling winds and corrosive black fog towards Mo Xiaobai. Mo Xiaobai grinned, revealing a sinister smile. He clenched his left hand into a fist. A bronze light flashed, and a dragon-shaped fist force appeared. Roar! The great desolation dragon fist roared. The left hand of flesh and blood tore through the black fog and collided with the big black club. Dong! Mo Xiaobai's left hand was torn apart on the spot. His bones cracked and blood splattered everywhere. However, the surging big black club also stopped above Mo Xiaobai's head. Mo Xiaobai did not stop. The heavy sword in his right hand carried a golden sword gleam and slashed towards the long whip that was approaching him. TSK, TSK, TSK. Under the collision, the long whip and the heavy sword were repelled at the same time. Under the attacks of the two, Mo Xiaobai naturally retreated and spat out a few more mouthfuls of blood. Although they did not achieve the effect they wanted, this attack almost crippled Mo Xiaobai's left hand. It was barely acceptable. The withered bone knight spirit sneered. How dare you fight me head-on? You're courting death. What? The smile on his face froze. He widened his eyes and looked at Mo Xiaobai's left hand. It was as if he had seen something unbelievable. He was not the only one. The handsome knight spirit had the same expression. Mo Xiaobai grasped his almost recovered left hand and laughed sinisterly. Say it. Why aren't you continuing? He shook his hand and shook off the blood on his left hand. The fine wounds on his skin could be vaguely seen wriggling and recovering. His skin returned to its fair state. Step by step, he walked towards the two-night creature man. His aura also rose bit by bit, erupting. Come, continue. The Guardian's unyielding strength increased by 7 times. The two-night spirit men looked at Mo Shao Bai, who was surrounded by white and red flames, and took a step back at the same time. Fear appeared in their eyes. What the hell are you? Undying body. Mo Shao Bai clenched his left fist, and the dragon shadow appeared again with a sinister smile. Take a guess. Dong. His body disappeared on the spot and reappeared behind the handsome night spirit. Keifu, watch out. The withered bone knight spirit exclaimed and charged towards Mo Shao Bai and the handsome night spirit. Cold sweat appeared on the handsome night spirit's back as he turned around. However, when he turned around, he realized that a large hand was blocking his vision. Mo Xiao Bai grabbed his head with one hand. Before he could struggle, the great desolation dragon fist exploded. Roar! The bronze dragon shadow roared, and Mo Shao Bai pressed down hard. Dong! The handsome night spirit's head was smashed into the ground. His body was lifted up and his legs were still struggling. Fresh blood splattered on the ground, and the handsome night spirit's aura, which was originally strong, weakened greatly. Mo Shao Bai was expressionless as the heavy sword in his right hand flashed with a golden sword beam. How dare you? The withered bone knight spirit approached Mo Shao Bai and smashed the big black stick in his hand towards Mo Shao Bai with extreme anger. Mo Shao Bai did not even look at him. He clenched his left fist again and collided with the big black stick. Dong! The withered bone knight spirit's pupils constricted and he was sent flying. In his vision, a golden sword beam flashed past. The handsome night spirit's body fell to the ground, and blood spurted out was reflected in his eyes. The pupils of the withered bone knight spirit dilated as fear filled its eyes. Chapter 319. After killing handsome night spirit, Mo Shao Bai turned into a phantom and disappeared from the spot. The next moment, he appeared behind withered bone knight spirit. Sword intent circulated in the air and slashed at withered bone knight spirit. Withered bone knight spirit growled and waved its big black club, forming a black light shield in front of it. Clang, clang, clang. The sword gleamed and the black light shield expanded and specks of force flickered. Mo Shao Bai's heavy sword slashed at the light shield. Boom! The light shield shattered, and withered bone knight spirit was sent flying, leaving a trail of blood in the air. Mo Shao Bai chased after it and slashed at it with his heavy sword again. Withered bone knight spirit's expression was ferocious as it blocked with its big black club. Dong! Crack, crack, crack. The violent force tore withered bone knight spirit's arm, and the big black club flew out of its hand. Withered bone knight spirit's expression changed drastically. Mo Shao Bai stomped on its chest. Boom! Withered bone knight spirit was stomped down from the air, creating a deep pit on the ground. The mountain peak shook violently once again. The middle-aged night spirit who was fighting Serene, the rabbit-human man, and the elf woman who were fighting Natsu Ki and Yin Shui all looked over. Their expressions changed drastically when they saw withered bone knight spirit's weak aura. They were even more shocked when they saw handsome night spirit's corpse not far away. What? Lin Keifu is dead. They cannot believe it. 2 against 1. And he was killed instead? How did this happen? Before they could react, a golden sword gleam descended from the sky and pierced through withered bone knight spirit's chest, piercing deep into the bottom of the mountain. Boom! Golden flame mountain shook. The mountain peak that was already covered in cracks finally collapsed, and huge rocks rolled down. Terrifying cracks also appeared on the mountain. The sword gleam dissipated, and so did withered bone knight spirit's vitality. The middle-aged night spirit trio felt a chill in their hearts. Another one was dead. The middle-aged night spirit made a prompt decision to push back Su-Yin and roared. Retreat. The rabbit-human man and the elf woman had already planned to retreat and immediately retreated. Su-Yin narrowed her eyes. Trying to run. We have all the time in the world to play with you now. The only reason they hadn't chased after that adventure team was because their target was First Flame. Now that Yin Xian was dead, they had intended to leave the Void Domain. The Shadow Cult was also Mo Xiao Bai's sworn enemy. Naturally, they wouldn't let them off easily. Su Yin's body burned with flames as she swept her spear horizontally towards the middle-aged man from Night Spirit, who was about to retreat. The saber in the middle-aged man's hand clashed with the spear. Clang! The two of them were sent flying again. However, this time, the middle-aged man felt a terrifying power coming from behind him. He turned around abruptly and saw the bronze dragon shadow that was almost within reach. Huh! He let out a low growl, and his saber continued to slash through the air. Streaks of pitch-black saber light attacked the bronze dragon shadow. The hasty blade gleam was torn apart by the dragon shadow, and the remaining force pierced through the night creature man's chest. His body flew backward, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Mo Xiao Bai's expression was cold as he charged towards the middle-aged night creature in a flash. The middle-aged man's expression changed drastically. He took out a rune and injected his force into it. The next moment, violent force gushed out of his body. His body seemed to be unable to withstand the powerful force and was torn apart. Mo Xiao Bai's expression changed, and he quickly retreated. What a powerful force fluctuation. The middle-aged night creature man glared at him violently. Then, he turned around and charged into the distance. Under the effect of the powerful force, his speed increased exponentially. Even Mo Xiao Bai couldn't stop him if he wanted to. Su Yin landed and came to Mo Xiao Bai's side. She looked at the black fog in the distance and frowned. I didn't expect him to have such a trick up his sleeve. He ran away. Mo Xiao Bai shook his head. So what if he ran away? It's too dangerous to chase after him now. That guy's line of misfortune already had a hint of purple. If it wasn't for the fact that he couldn't control that power, they would be the ones running away. He turned to look at the other two Shadow Cult members who were planning to run away. At this moment, their faces were green and their bodies were limp on the ground. Their faces were filled with pain and disbelief. When did you poison him? The rabbit-human man said weakly. Damn it. Insidious bastard. The elf woman cursed. Natsuki's expression didn't change at all. She still had a gentle and kind smile. Mo Xiao Bai's heart trembled as he looked at her. As expected, Sister Xiaotong was the scariest. The two's curses slowly disappeared. Their bodies stiffened and lost their vitality. Natsuki and Yin Shui finally looked away. Yin Shui looked at the other two night creatures and said, The leader ran away? Yes, that guy had a trick up his sleeve. Natsuki chuckled. The hatred between us and the Shadow Cult is getting deeper. Mo Xiao Bai rolled his eyes. I don't care. They probably wanted to kill me before anyway. That little white. When we find the Shadow Cult's nest, we'll wipe them out, right? Su Yin put her arm around Mo Xiao Bai's shoulder. Their leader should be an 8-chakra master. He might be even stronger now. Are you sure you can take them out? Mo Xiao Bai was speechless. Young girl, you're already dreaming when the sun is still up? Su Yin rubbed her chin. It's okay. We'll talk about it when we're stronger. Let's set a target first. Okay, let's go. Although we didn't find the land of elements this time, the information about it is still valuable. Okay, let's go back and tell Dad. It's a big contribution, right? We should be able to get something good, right? Su Yin chuckled. Yin Shui also nodded. The most dangerous place now was Bloody Wilderness. This time, it was the Blood King who wanted to open the seal. With that, the four of them left the shattered Golden Flame Mountain. Not long after they left, two more groups of adventurers approached. They looked at the broken peak of the Golden Flame Mountain and looked at each other in dismay. This is the battle between the powerhouses here? He actually shattered the Golden Flame Mountain. Isn't his combat strength a little too exaggerated? Looking at the situation, Yin Xian is probably dead. Forget it. Let's go somewhere else. Okay, all the adventurers left Golden Flame Mountain. They were afraid of angering the unknown powerhouses and getting themselves killed for no reason. Golden Forest City, Golden Forest Hotel. After Mo Xiao Bai and the others returned to the hotel, Yin Shui said softly, I'll contact Dad first. I'll contact my father first and tell him about the elemental land. Okay. Mo Xiaobai and the others nodded. Yin Shui also took out her communication crystal and contacted Yin Qi. The crystal flashed a few times, and Ing Shuifei's voice sounded. Shui, why did you suddenly think of contacting us? Yin Shui blinked. Mom? Why is it you? Where's Dad? He's in a meeting now. Is it about the Blood King? Yes. Yin Shui curled her lips and smiled proudly. Mom, we found something about the Land of Elements. Huh? What is it? Ing Shuifei was curious. We met an elemental lord. He said that the night creature king of the ancient times once killed the lord of the Land of Elements in order to break the seal and release the demons. After Yin Shui finished speaking, the other side fell silent. Desolate Blood City. Ing Shuifei clenched the communication crystal in her hand and frowned. She took a deep breath, suppressed the shock in her heart, and said solemnly, Sure, is what you said true? Yes, it's not just me. Xiaobai, Sister Xiaodong, and Sister Yin were also there. We found it together. As she spoke, she recounted the details of how she had hunted Yin Xian. After hearing this, Ing Shuifei pursed her lips. Shui, you've done a great job. I'll inform your dad immediately. Chapter 320. Desolate Blood City Conference Room. Yin Qi leaned back in his chair and looked around. Next month, General Li will be in charge of guarding the ruins. A stern-looking man nodded. Yes. How's the news about the elemental land? Yin Qi continued. We've already found the gathering place of elemental spirits, but we haven't found the so-called elemental land. A night creature man said. He hesitated for a moment before continuing. High-level elemental spirits with intelligence don't seem to be too close to our 6 races. It's difficult to find them. Yin Qi frowned and thought for a moment before continuing. Go to the void domain and take a look. Some void domains also have elemental spirits. Perhaps we can find something there. Yes. Knock, knock, knock. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Yin Qi frowned slightly. A desolate blood army higher up, sitting close to the door, opened it. After seeing Ing Shuifei, he hurriedly greeted. General Ing. Ing Shuifei nodded and entered the conference room. She returned to her seat with a solemn expression. There's news about the elemental land. What? Everyone was shocked. Yin Qi sat up straight and looked at Ing Shuifei. Shui said that just now? Yes. Ing Shuifei nodded and recounted what Yin Shui had told her. When Yin Qi and the others heard this, their frowns deepened. The Blood King is actually looking for the elemental land to unlock the seal. Damn it, we can't let him find it first, Yin Qi said slowly. Send someone to keep an eye on the Golden Forest Void Domain. As long as Yin Xian's projection revives, go and negotiate with him. Yes, check the other Void Domains as soon as possible, especially those with Lord-level elemental spirits. We can't let them go. It's best to directly ask for the location of the elemental land. Understood. He took a deep breath and looked at General Li. I'll have to trouble you to keep an eye on the Guardian ruins. Don't worry, General. I won't let you down. Okay. Yin Qi nodded. Meeting adjourned. After the soldiers left, Yin Qi heaved a sigh of relief and leaned back in his seat. Shui, has been a great help this time. He chuckled, feeling somewhat pleased with himself. As expected of my daughter. Wait. He noticed that something was wrong and asked, What's wrong? The Golden Forest Void Domain seems to be a Tier 5 Purgatory Void Domain. That Yin Xian strength shouldn't be something that Shui can deal with, right? Ing Shuifei rolled her eyes. She, Xiaobai, and the 2 daughters from the Su family and the Mu family formed an adventure team. The 4 of them went there together. Xiaobai? Yin Qi's expression was strange. Which Xiaobai? Which other Xiaobai? Ing Shuifei looked at Yin Qi with a smile. Yin Qi's face instantly stiffened. He opened his mouth and said, It's that bastard. Wait a minute. Why were there people from the Su and Mu families? What does that brat mean? Ing Shuifei shook her head. You don't have to worry about this. During the blood tide, Yin Qi had not been there. Ing Shuifei had noticed that Mo Xiaobai's group of 4 seemed to have different relationships. She knew Yin Shui's personality. She was cold and rarely had a good friend. But her relationship with Su Yin and Natsu Ki was indeed good. As for Mo Xiaobai, she was also in a bit of a dilemma. The relationship between these four people really gave her a headache. When Yin Qi heard Ing Shuifei's words, he immediately shut up. After a moment of silence, he said sullenly, "Report the news of the elemental land. We need help. I'm going to cultivate." After informing Yin Qi of this information, Yin Shui seemed to relax a lot. Suyin smiled and said, "That's right. This way, we should be able to find the elemental land faster." "Yes, I hope we can find it before the Shadow Sect people find it." Natsu Ki nodded. Mo Xiaobai smiled and said, "What happens next is out of our hands. Come, let's see what good things there are in the void treasure." The three's eyes lit up with anticipation. Suyin clapped her hands. "Good, good. Let's take a look." Natsu Ki smiled and flipped her long hair. "This is the first time I've found a void treasure." Yin Shui also nodded and stared at Mo Xiaobai like a cat waiting to be fed. Mo Xiaobai smiled and took out the things from before. All kinds of lights flashed and reflected in the eyes of the four people. There were many orange lights, 3 red lights, and even a gorgeous diamond-colored light. Su Yin's eyes widened. Holy item." Yin Shui and Natsu Ki also looked at the gorgeous diamond light in shock. Then Su Yin came to her senses and looked at Mo Xiaobai in shock. "Xiaobai, you've been finding holy items all this time?" Mo Xiaobai was also a little dumbfounded. He didn't expect to find a holy item. He shook his head. "No, I've only found a few legendary items. This is the first time I've found a holy item." Natsu Ki and the other 2 people, legendary item? But wasn't this person a little too much? Even a big family like theirs, legendary items were extremely rare. As for holy items, only sanctuary experts could use 1 or 2 of them. Yin Shui's icy blue eyes were filled with complicated surprise. "Is it really a holy item? Why do I feel like I'm dreaming?" "I think so too." Even Natsu Ki, who was the most stable, nodded. "My father only has 3 holy items. I didn't expect that we'd find a holy item when we haven't even opened 7 orifices." Although she had obtained a sacred body refining technique in the Sacred Mountain trial, that opportunity was hard to come by. How could it be as easy as this time? Mo Xiaobai smiled and said, "Let's see what it is." He took out the holy artifact from inside. It was a golden red crystal necklace. The crystal was carved into the shape of a pair of wings. There seemed to be flames flowing on the wings. "It's so beautiful." Yin Shui's eyes sparkled. Natsu Ki and Su Yin were the same. Mo Xiaobai was speechless. Shouldn't this be based on practicality? What's the use of it being beautiful? He couldn't understand women's thoughts. Holding the necklace in his hand, a string of information appeared in Mo Xiaobai's mind. Golden flame, angel wings. It could increase the fire element by a terrifying 3-fold. This was just a necklace. Not only that, after injecting force into it, it could also activate a pair of angel wings. It could give a body fundamentalist below 7 orifices the ability to fly and greatly increase their speed. As for how much the increase would be, it depended on the user's original speed, but it would definitely increase by a lot. Mo Xiaobai looked at the necklace and was a little surprised. As expected of a holy item, it was too powerful. This piece of equipment alone could double the combat ability of a fire-type body fundamentalist, or even more. Mo Xiaobai handed the necklace to Suyin. "It can increase the fire element. Sister Yin, you can use it." "You're giving it to me?" Suyin was a little dumbfounded. Not only Suyin, but Yin Shui and Natsu Ki were also a little dumbfounded. Chapter 321. This was a holy artifact. They didn't expect that Mo Xiaobai would give it to Su Yin just like that. After a moment of silence, Su Yin waved her hand. "Xiaobai, you found this void treasure, so the holy artifact belongs to you. You don't have to give it to me. It's too valuable." Mo Xiaobai smiled. No matter how valuable something is, it has to be given to the right person. This is something used by a fire element fundamentalist. I can't use it, so it's most suitable for you. To be honest, he and Su Yin had already done so many things. Mo Xiaobai naturally didn't feel bad about giving it to her. Seeing that Su Yin was still hesitating, Mo Xiaobai smiled. Do you want me to put it on for you? Su Yin, who had always been carefree, blushed, which was rare. She secretly glanced at Yin Shui, and Natsu Ki gritted her teeth and snatched the necklace. I'll do it myself. She gently put on the necklace, as if she was afraid of breaking it. How is it? Does it look good? Su Yin scratched her face, a little shy. Mo Xiaobai glanced at the golden red wings and the snow-white cleavage, and felt his nose heat up. So big. Bah, it looks good. Su Yin let out a sigh of relief and showed a smug smile. It really suits me. Natsu Ki narrowed her eyes. Xiaobai, your eyes are about to fall out. Mo Xiaobai quickly came back to his senses and found that Yin Shui was looking at him coldly, her aura surging and her fists clenched. The smile on Natsu Ki's face made him shudder. He laughed dryly. This one doesn't suit you. Next time, if there's one that suits you, I'll give it to you. All right, let's look at the others. There are still a few legendary items. Mo Xiaobai took out 3 items that were flashing with red light. One of them was a type of forging material called flame flow stone. It was a stone that seemed to have flames flowing within it. Su Yin happened to be a blacksmith, so she could use it to forge items. One of them was a fire elemental magic staff. It was a pity that it wasn't a Logia, or else he could have given it to Natsu Ki. Even her staff wasn't that good. It was taken by Mu Xiaodong, who planned to exchange it for a magic staff in the clan. One of them was actually a heavenly cast set, a leather armor. King of Flames set. It was a legendary grade set equipment that increased fire elemental abilities. The only one who used leather armor was Yin Shui. Unfortunately, it wasn't of the ice element. Yin Shui was so angry that she snorted. However, she still took it away. She planned to exchange it for a legendary set that she could use back in the tribe. If not, he would change to something else. After we return, I'll look for some legendary equipment suitable for you. Xiaobai. As the biggest winner, Su Yin said happily. As for sacred artifacts, she didn't dare to say that she could take them out. Her family's saint-level powerhouses would definitely carry them with them. Even if she was the eldest daughter of the Su family and had outstanding talent, she would be hung up and beaten if she dared to ask for them. I'll also go back to the tribe and see if there's anything suitable for Xiaobai. Me too. Natsu Ki and Yin Shui also nodded. This time, Mo Xiaobai was the only one who didn't get a legendary or sacred artifact. They felt very guilty. Mo Xiaobai smiled. Actually, my equipment is already pretty good. There's no need. How can that be? Natsu Ki objected. No matter what, you should have at least a few pieces of legendary equipment on you. Su Yin and Yin Shui nodded at the same time. The next moment, the 3 of them were stunned. They looked at each other. Su Yin furrowed his brows. Something's wrong. Since when did we have the illusion that legendary equipment is very ordinary? Natsu Ki and Yin Shui also had strange expressions. Today, they were shocked by the sacred artifacts in the void treasure. Now, they were a little arrogant. They didn't care about anything that wasn't legendary. Mo Xiaobai looked at the 3 of them with some confusion. It shouldn't be difficult to get legendary equipment, right? If we find a few more void treasures, we might be able to get a full set of sacred artifacts. The 3 of them, Natsu Ki had a headache and held his head. Don't talk. If you talk, I won't even be interested in legendary equipment later. Huh, this has to do with me. Before he could finish his sentence, Yin Shui had already covered his mouth. The 3 of them didn't want to listen to him anymore. What if he really didn't want legendary equipment? It was very uncomfortable. Mo Xiaobai rolled his eyes helplessly and moved Yin Shui's little hand away. Okay, I won't talk about it. Let's look at the others. Among the epic items, 2 types of herbs were taken by Natsu Ki, and 1 type was taken by Su Yin. There was also a set of armor that increased the power of the fire element. Unfortunately, it didn't suit Mo Xiaobai, or he would have changed it. Su Yin's armor was a legendary armor set that she had obtained during the Holy Mountain trial, so there was no need for it either. In the end, they helplessly discovered that they really didn't have any use for epic equipment. Unfortunately, no epic-grade origin skill crystals dropped this time. Otherwise, it would have been quite a big gain. As for legendary items, Mo Xiaobai and the others took a look and found that there really wasn't any need for them. After the various transcendent materials were distributed, the treasures found in the void treasure trove were all dealt with. Okay, let's wash up and sleep. Serene stood up and stretched. The angel wings on her chest shook. The four of them left the hall and returned to their rooms. At night, Emo Xiao Bai, who was sleeping, suddenly opened his eyes and looked in the direction of the door. The door slowly opened, and a figure sneaked in stealthily. Under the moonlight, Emo Xiao Bai saw Su Yin's delicate face. He was stunned. "Sisterine, why are you here?" Su Yin seemed to have expected this and chuckled. She sneakily ran to the side of the bed, pushed Emo Xiao by his side, and squeezed under the covers. A delicate fragrance surrounded Emo Xiao Bai, and his mind was filled with question marks. What the hell? What was going on? Su Yin narrowed her eyes, looking like a cat that had stolen food. "You're awake?" Emo Xiao Bai was speechless. "Did you not hear my voice just now?" Before he could say anything, Su Yin had already kissed him. A moment later, the two of them separated. Emo Xiao Bai felt his mouth go dry. As if she felt something, Su Yin blushed and moved back shyly. "Let's continue what we didn't finish last time." She quietly opened her mouth and said, "But don't let Tong Tong and Xiao Shui hear us, or else we'll be killed by them." Emo Xiao Bai heard this and swallowed. He looked at Su Yin's red eyes that were like flames. At this moment, there was a hint of moisture in those red eyes. "If I die, so be it," he decisively attacked. Countless words omitted here. The next morning, before the sun had even risen, Su Yin propped up her exhausted body and got out of bed with difficulty. She even put away the bedsheets. There were traces of her first time on it. "If you dare to bully me in the future, I'll throw this in your face and then shoot you." Emo Xiao Bai's scalp went numb. After that, Su Yin held her waist and left. Chapter 3:22. Emo Xiao Bai cleaned up the mess on the battlefield and walked out of the room. After resting in the living room for a while, Yin Shui walked out. Emo Xiao Bai smiled and said, "Morning." Yin Shui nodded and sat beside Emo Xiao Bai. Soon, Natsuki also walked out. After greeting Emo Xiao Bai and Yin Shui, she went to make breakfast. Even if they were outside, Emo Xiao Bai and the other two would still strongly request Natsuki to make breakfast if they had the chance, although she was a little lazy and didn't really want to do it. However, under the tyranny of Emo Xiao Bai and the other two, she could only give in. After making breakfast, Natsuki looked at Su Yin's room with some confusion. "Yo-Yo, why isn't she out yet? It's so late." Emo Xiao Bai's heart skipped a beat. "She should be out soon, right? I'll go take a look." As he spoke, he went to Su Yin's room. Before he knocked, Su Yin's room door opened, and Su Yin walked out after tidying up. The two of them looked at each other. Su Yin's eyes glistened and her face turned pink. Then, she looked away and ran over with a smile. "Wow, Tong Tong is the best. I just woke up and there's good food. Why did you wake up so late today?" Natsuki was a little confused. "I just finished a battle yesterday. It's rare for me to rest." "Oh," Yin Shui nodded. "I also want to sleep a little more. It's very tiring after a battle." Su Yin nodded repeatedly. "Super tiring." Emo Xiao Bai, who walked over, almost choked. He felt that they weren't on the same wavelength. He sat quietly and didn't dare to speak. Speaking of which, if little Shui and Tong Tong knew, would they beat him and Sisterine to death? Emo Xiao Bai fell in a deep thought. He couldn't take the initiative to say it. If he dared to say that, Sisterine would probably beat him to death first. It was extremely difficult. Emo Xiao Bai rubbed his forehead. "What's wrong? Do you feel a little uncomfortable?" Yin Shui looked at Emo Xiao Bai. Su Yin held a piece of pastry in her mouth and stared at Emo Xiao Bai with her eyes wide open. Emo Xiao Bai coughed dryly and smiled. "It's nothing. Maybe I'm a little tired." "Young man, you can't do that." Su Yin chuckled. Emo Xiao Bai glared at her. How could she not know whether she could do it or not yesterday? After breakfast, Mu Xiaodong smiled and said, "There's still some time before the holidays. Where are we going next?" Emo Xiao Bai had already thought about it yesterday. He said, "Let's go to other hell-level void domains. Maybe we can find other void treasures." He didn't expect a purgatory void domain to have a sacred artifact. No matter what, they had to go to other void domains to take a look. Speaking of which, there were holy artifacts in the purgatory void domain's void treasures. What about the higher level, abyss level void domains? Divine artifacts? Unfortunately, the lowest level abyss level was at least rank 7. The big bosses inside were probably stronger than the demon lords. They were no match for them at all. They could only wait until he broke through to the 7th aperture to take a look. Hearing Imo Shao Bai's suggestion, Natsuki and the other two's eyes lit up. After discovering sacred artifacts this time, they also wanted to go to other places to look for void treasures. But can we find it? Natsuki asked. Let's try. I think it's possible. Suin smiled and put her arm around Natsuki's shoulder. Even if we can't find it, we can still hunt some demons and get some other transcendent materials. Okay. Yin Xuan nodded in agreement. Then let's go. Natsuki smiled. The four of them left the room and went to other void domains. 2 months later, Northern Blue City, Imo Xiaobai's house. You're leaving already? At the dining table, Mu Yuju looked at Imo Xiaobai, Yin Shui, Su Yin, and Natsuki with some reluctance. I still want to learn more about other dishes from Tong Tong. Because school was about to start, Imo Xiaobai and the other three returned to Northern Blue City and rested for a few days. During these days, Mu Yuju and Natsuki had a lot in common. They often talked about how to cook together. Of course, Mu Yuju was learning from Natsuki. Natsuki smiled. Andy, I'll give you my recipe later. You can learn it first. Why come and play next time? We can talk again. That's great. Mu Yuju's eyes lit up and she smiled. Su-in happily ate her food and said with a smile, You're right. Andy's cooking is getting better and better. Eat more if you like it. Mu Yuju smiled happily. She picked up some vegetables for Yin Shui. Xiao Shui, if you like to eat this, eat more. Don't be shy. Thank you, Auntie. Yin Shui nodded embarrassedly. Yin Shui was still a little embarrassed in front of Mu Yuju and Mou. Mu Yuju picked up some vegetables for Su-in and Natsuki. On the side, Imo Xiaobai was speechless. Mom, am I still your biological son? Why aren't you picking up more for me? Mu Yuju narrowed her eyes and glanced at Imo Xiaobai. It's nothing. I have hands. I can do it. Imo Xiaobai's mouth twitched, but he didn't dare to say anything. On the side, Imo Yu was gloating. He glanced at Su-in and the other two, then glared at Imo Xiaobai. He was also very unhappy. Why didn't he realize that his son was such a playboy? This was enviable. Bah, despicable. Imo Xiaobai felt Imo Yu's gaze and looked back at him blankly. Then he smiled at Imo Yu. Imo Yu. He twitched the corner of his mouth and felt very uncomfortable. After lunch, Imo Xiaobai and the other three bid farewell to Imo Yu and Mu Yuju. Su-in hugged Lil Red's head and chuckled. Xiao Hong, I'll come to see you next time. Come, eat this flame essence fragment. Perhaps it was because Su-in had a fire affinity talent, so she had the best relationship with Xiao Hong. In comparison, Xiao Hong was indifferent to Yin Shui. Imo Xiaobai occasionally saw Yin Shui secretly trying to give Xiao Hong something to eat, but Xiao Hong was cold and ignored her. In the end, Imo Xiaobai was caught peeping and laughing, and he was beaten up by the angry Yin Shui. Yin Shui glanced at Xiao Hong, who was sticking to Su-in, and looked disappointed. Imo Xiaobai wanted to laugh, but he didn't think it was very appropriate. Yin Shui, who was originally as cold as ice, now looked so pitiful. It was really cute. Imo Xiaobai suddenly felt that he seemed to have awakened some strange attribute. This was not good. He had to change it. Be careful on the road. Got it. After saying goodbye, Imo Xiaobai and the other three left the neighborhood. As for teacher Meng Sheng, he went on a vacation with his wife when the holidays started. She was living her life happily. After leaving the neighborhood, Imo Xiaobai and Yin Shui faced Su-in and Natsuki. Natsuki flipped her long hair and smiled. Then you two go to school by yourselves. We'll go look for information about the land of elements. Su-in scratched her head. I wanted to graduate quickly, but now I really want to go to school with you guys. She looked distressed. Mo Xiaobai smiled and nodded. Sister Xiaodong, Sisterine, you have to be careful. If you encounter people from the Shadow Sect and the Blood King, run if you can't beat them. Xiaobai, you're underestimating us. Who do you think we are? Suyin pouted unhappily. During this period of time, they had been going to the Purgatory Void domain. They had gained a lot, and their combat strength had increased exponentially. Natsu Ki smiled and nodded. I'll be careful. I'll also keep an eye on Yo-Yo. Mo Xiaobai nodded. Then you have to take good care of Xiao Shui. Natsu Ki narrowed her eyes and smiled. Don't worry, Sister Xiaodong. Yin Shui blushed and mumbled something that no one knew what she was saying. Mo Xiaobai looked at Su-Yin and Natsu Ki and reached out his hand. I don't think we'll see each other for a few months. Come, give me a hug. Su-Yin smiled and hugged Mo Xiaobai. Both of them used a little strength. When their eyes met, the meaning was indecipherable. Since that time, the two of them hadn't found a chance to reconnect. For the two of them who had tasted the forbidden fruit for the first time, it was very uncomfortable. But there was nothing they could do. Natsuki looked at Mo Xiaobai's open arms and blushed. But she still hugged Mo Xiaobai. Hugging her, Mo Xiaobai tightened his arms slightly. Natsuki's body stiffened. Then she relaxed slightly. Mo Xiaobai quickly let go. Okay, then we'll be going. Natsuki and Su-Yin nodded. Mo Xiaobai summoned Little Qing, who had evolved to rank 5 and had become a commander. He brought Yin Shui and Su-Yin onto Little Qing's back and headed to school. Chapter 323. Late at night, at Northern Green Lake, the surface of the lake glowed white under the moonlight, while the water below was pitch black. A metal fishing boat was slowly drifting on the surface of the lake. The fishing boat was brightly lit. In the cabin, Li Shu had a beer belly and was holding a beer barrel in one hand as he downed it. The pale yellow liquor slid down his messy beard and dripped onto the deck. Good. As expected of Li Shu, you have such a huge capacity. Another barrel. The middle-aged fisherman kept making a ruckus. Burp. After finishing the barrel, Li Shu put down the empty barrel and let out a loud burp. You brats think you could take me down? I can soak Li Shu in wine until he grows up. Li Shu is awesome. Another barrel. No more, no more. Li Shu patted his beer belly and waved his hand. Be careful at night. Be careful of the merfolk. Hey, the crowd booed. After the merfolk rebellion 2 years ago, the merfolk didn't dare to come out. How could any of them dare to attack our fishing boat? That's right, that's right. Li Shu's expression darkened. But you still have to be careful. Li Shu, I'm going to teach you a lesson today. Through the window, he glanced at the dark and deep lake under the moonlight and slowly opened his mouth to speak. It's better to be safe than sorry. Northern Green Lake is so big, and so many fishermen die here every year. How did Li Shu survive until now? Because from the moment we set out, I was always on guard. Only this way can you guarantee your safety. I know, Li Shu. You've already said this many times. Li Shu fell helpless when he saw that many people didn't think much of it. This group of fishermen had been recruited not long ago. After the merfolk rebellion 2 years ago, the number of merfolk in Northern Green Lake had decreased significantly, so it was much safer to sail on the lake. Naturally, their profits had also increased. The fishermen all made a lot of money. Therefore, many young people came to the lake to fish for gold. They hadn't even experienced the normal Northern Green Lake, let alone the cruel times when the murlocs were in chaos. Li Shu looked at the deep lake, and his eyes flashed. He knew that the fishmen would return sooner or later. They also wanted to survive, so they had to fight. Li Shu could only pass on his experience to these young people. Unfortunately, not many of these youngsters listened. He sighed inwardly. At this moment, a red-haired, freckled youth looked at Li Shu with sparkling eyes. By the way, Li Shu, I heard that you have a good relationship with Mr. Mo Xiaobai, who saved many of us during the Fishman's Rebellion. Can you tell us about him? As soon as these words were spoken, many people became interested. That's right. I heard that Mr. Mo Xiaobai even helped Li Shu kill murlocs before. Li Shu, tell us. Mo Xiaobai's deeds had spread far and wide in Lakeside Town. Almost all the youngsters knew that Mo Xiaobai who was only a first-year student at Akatsuki Academy, had astonishing talent and outstanding battle strength. He had made outstanding contributions during the Fishmen's Rebellion. To the youngsters from Northridge Town, Emo Xiaobai was a heroic figure. When Emo Xiaobai was mentioned, Li Shu's eyes flashed, and he chuckled. You've asked the right person. In the entire lakeside town, no one knows Emo Xiaobai better than me. Back then, outside the cabin, the two fishermen on duty on the deck listened to the voices inside and pricked up their ears. I also want to go in and listen to Li Shu talk about Mr. Emo Xiaobai. That's right. I heard from the old people that Mr. Emo Xiaobai is very strong. I don't know if he's even stronger now. Sai, what's their guard outside? There's not even a shadow. Li Shu is really too much. Why does he have to be so careful? Wait, what's that? Suddenly, one of the fishermen opened his eyes wide and looked into the distance. His figure was somewhat bewildered. Hearing this, the fishermen who were complaining also stood up abruptly. In the distance, above the deep lake, a black figure slowly approached. Against the moonlight, the figure's appearance couldn't be seen clearly. However, those crimson-red eyes could be seen. Those crimson-red eyes, filled with violent killing intent, made the two fishermen feel as if they had fallen into an ice cave. Their scalps went numb. Shio! The sound of something breaking through the air could be heard. The fisherman who had just stood up was pierced through by a harpoon. His body flew backwards and crashed into the wall. Fresh blood splattered all over the ground. He opened his eyes wide and lowered his head to look at the harpoon in his chest. His eyes were somewhat dazed. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of blood. He looked at his stunned companion and stretched out his hand, wanting to grab something. However, his hand only stretched out halfway before his vitality dissipated. His arm fell heavily and his head drooped down. The fisherman who was still alive looked at his companion's corpse and opened his mouth. His eyes were filled with fear. The next moment, he screamed with a sharp voice. Enemy attack. It's the Murlocs. Akatsuki Academy, dormitory area. The morning sun shone into the room. Emo Xiaobai slowly opened his eyes. He sat up on the bed and stretched himself. Crack, crack, crack. His bones relaxed. He walked out of the room and finished washing up. He went to the sofa in the living room and sat down. Not long after, Yin Shui also walked over. The two of them looked at each other and sighed. Emo Xiaobai lay on the sofa with a salted fish face. I miss Sister Xiaotong. Yin Shui dragged her feet and sat down beside Emo Xiaobai. Then she imitated Emo Xiaobai and lay down like a salted fish and groaned. Me too. It's been more than a month. I haven't eaten Sister Xiaotong's delicious food for more than a month. Isn't it too hard? Emo Xiaobai was helpless. Yin Shui sighed. We've been poisoned by Sister Xiaotong. There's no hope. Then what should we do? Sister Xiaotong and Sister Yin are running around outside, looking for news about the Land of Elements. We can't ask them to come back and specially cook for us, right? Yin Shui nodded and stood up weakly. Let's go to the cafeteria. Oh, after leaving the dormitory building, Emo Xiaobai and Yin Shui walked towards the cafeteria. Along the way, people passing by looked at the two of them from time to time. It couldn't be helped. Emo Xiaobai and Yin Shui were too famous in the school. Their combat strength was unique in the same year and was more than one level stronger than the others. Even as sixth-grade students felt great pressure in front of them. Although they hadn't fought before, but even the sixth-grade students didn't dare to say that they could beat them. Especially Emo Xiaobai. The people of Akatsuki Academy had already reached a consensus. This guy was a monster that came out of the geniuses of the three great academies. Emo Xiaobai and Yin Shui were already numb to this kind of attention. The two of them walked to the cafeteria, took their breakfast, and found a place to sit down. The discussion on the side attracted Emo Xiaobai's attention. Did you hear? The fishermen of Beiqing Lake are in chaos again. Yes, I heard. According to the witnesses, it's not just the fishmen. It seems like the water spirits are also in chaos. It's really strange. The water spirits have always been gentle. Why would they suddenly attack people? Chapter 324. Chaotic Water Spirits? Emo Xiaobai and Yin Shui looked at each other. Then their eyes lit up. They suddenly found a good way to make Natsu Ki come back to cook. Mo Xiaobai stood up and walked in front of the people in discussion. Greetings, brothers. The two students turned around and looked at him. When they saw Mo Xiaobai, they were stunned and a little nervous. Mo Xiaobai? A man with a buzz cut quickly smiled and extended his hand to Mo Xiaobai. Junior Mo Xiaobai, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. My name is Rong Xingwen, a fifth-year student. Mo Xiaobai reached out and shook his hand. So, it's Rong Xingwen. Nice to meet you too. What's the matter, Mo Xiaobai? The other student was a little uneasy. What a joke. This was Akatsuki's publicly recognized monster, Mo Xiaobai. Mo Xiaobai actually took the initiative to talk to them. They could brag about it for a year. Mo Xiaobai smiled. I heard you guys talking about the water spirits and the fishmen at Beiqing Lake. I'm quite interested, so I came to learn more. Rong Xingwen and Yin Shui were enlightened when they heard Mo Xiaobai's words. Oh, I see. I remember now. Mo Xiaobai made a great contribution during the Fishmen's Rebellion. Mo Xiaobai was only a first year back then, right? As expected of you. You're already so strong in your first year. Ha ha ha. It's just a small matter. The two of them complimented each other, and Mo Xiaobai felt a little embarrassed. It's like this. I heard that a fisherman called Li Hong was the first to report that his boat was attacked by fishmen and water spirits. Li Hong. Mo Xiaobai's expression changed slightly. It was a little strange. Wasn't this Li Shu? Why was it him again? Why was he involved every time something happened? Wasn't he too unlucky? What's wrong, Junior Mo? It's fine. Go on. Later, more and more fishermen returned to the port. They also said that they were attacked by the fishmen and water spirits. Yes, but there aren't that many people who have been attacked yet. Shui Ling has always been gentle. Why would she suddenly take the initiative to attack others? Mo Xiaobai asked doubtfully. It wasn't like he had never seen a water spirit before. He had seen Shui Ling the first time he went to northern Qing Lake. If you don't provoke him, he definitely won't do anything. Rong Xingwen and his companions shook their heads. I don't know, but what? Rong Xingwen paused for a moment. I heard that those mermen and water spirits were bewitched. Their eyes were completely red. It's possible that something is controlling it. Controlled? Mo Xiaobai frowned, feeling that things were not as simple as they seemed. He came back to his senses and smiled at Rong Xingwen. Thank you so much, seniors. You're welcome, you're welcome. The two of them were flattered. Rong Xingwen touched his buzz cut a little embarrassedly. If possible, Junior Mo Xiaobai, can we add each other as friends? Mo Xiaobai nodded. No problem. That's great. The two of them were pleasantly surprised. With Mo Xiaobai as friends, they could brag until they graduated. After adding Rong Xingwen and his companion Gan Wendong as friends, Mo Xiaobai returned to his seat. How is it? Yin Shui asked. It's a little strange. Mo Xiaobai told Yin Shui what Rong Xingwen said before. Controlled? Yin Shui also frowned. Besides the mermen, they also controlled the water spirits. Could be the shadow cult's doing? The water spirits were one of the elemental spirits. They were too sensitive to them. Perhaps the shadow cult's people controlled the water spirits in order to find the elemental land. I don't know. I think we need to find out. Mo Xiaobai shook his head. Then a smile appeared on his face. Hee. Tell Sister Xiaodong and Sister Yin to come back. Yin Shui's eyes lit up and she nodded. Okay. 2 days later, in the school square, Natsuki drove the force motorcycle and rushed into the school. After the two of them got off the motorcycle, Su Yin ran over. Mo Xiaobai opened his arms and was about to hug Su Yin when Su Yin rushed past them and hugged the frightened Yin Shui. Xiao Shui, long time no see. Yin Shui's head was buried in Su Yin's chest, and she struggled weakly. Mo Xiaobai. Wow, this woman didn't miss me at all? Mo Xiaobai expressed his sadness. He missed Su Yin every day. After all, the two of them had already been intimate. But she missed Yin Shui more? Ha, heartless woman. At this moment, Natsuki also walked over. Xiaobai, it's been almost 2 months. Mo Xiaobai nodded and reached out to Natsuki. Long time no see, Sister Xiaodong. Natsuki was stunned, then smiled and hugged Mo Xiaobai. After a while, in Mo Xiaobai's arms, Natsu Ki said softly, "How long do you plan to hug me?" Mo Xiaobai came back to his senses, coughed, and let go of his arms. Cough, it was too comfortable, I forgot. Natsuki blushed and rolled her eyes at Mo Xiaobai. You're good at talking. Wow, I want a hug too. At some point, Yin Shui escaped from Su Yin's clutches. When Su Yin saw Mo Xiaobai hugging Natsuki, she immediately rushed over and hugged Mo Xiaobai. She gave him a facial cleanser. Mo Xiaobai finally experienced Yin Shui's despair. After returning to the hut, Natsuki and Su Yin looked around. The decorations haven't changed. It's only been a month, but it feels completely different. Natsuki and Su Yin spoke. After all, we've already graduated. Yin Shui said softly. Mu Xiaodong smiled and turned to look at the two of them. Tell me about the water spirit of Beiqing Lake. Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui looked at each other. Then Mo Xiaobai coughed and said with a smile, Sister Tong Tong, why don't you make something delicious and we can talk about it while we eat? Natsu Ki's expression froze. Su Yin, who was standing at the side, did indeed burst out laughing. Ha ha ha, I suspect that you brought Tong Tong back because you want her to cook. Sister Yin, what are you talking about? How is that possible? Mo Xiaobai said seriously. What kind of nonsense was this? Natsuki looked at the two of them helplessly. Fine. Soon, Natsuki finished cooking. Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui also got a taste of food they had been longing for. Okay, let's see how it goes. Natsuki didn't know whether to laugh or cry as she looked at the two of them, who were blissfully happy. Ahem. It's like this. Mo Xiaobai told them what he had heard and the information he had gathered over the past 2 days. Natsuki and Su Yin frowned. The four of them discussed for a while and finally decided to go to Northridge Town to talk to Li Shu and see how it went. After eating, the four of them got into Natsuki's car and flew to Northridge Town. Chapter 325. North Mountain Town, in a private room of Mei Xianyu Restaurant. Li Shu, Lu Qing, and Du Ling were all there. Li Shu's hand was still wrapped in bandages. He looked at Mo Xiaobai and grinned. Xiaobai, it's been almost a year, right? You didn't even come to see me. Mo Xiaobai smiled. I've been too busy recently. That's why I came to have a gathering with you guys. Li Shu laughed and glanced at Natsuki, Su Yin, and Yin Shui. He smiled ambiguously. I know. Young people, haha. Mo Xiaobai. He was speechless. What is an LSP like, you know? Du Ling glanced at Su Yin and the other two. A hint of sadness flashed across her eyes, but she was relieved. She smiled mischievously and said, Xiaobai, I didn't expect you to be so affectionate. Miss Yin Shui and the other two girls, which one of them isn't a beauty capable of causing the downfall of a city? Yin Shui almost spat out the tea in her mouth. What? What affectionate? She glanced at Mo Xiaobai. Natsuki also looked at Mo Xiaobai with a hint of mockery in her eyes. Su Yin, who was originally the boldest, felt a little awkward and embarrassed. She had really been taken advantage of. Natsuki, who was looking at Mo Xiaobai mockingly, raised her eyebrows slightly when she saw Su Yin's slightly red face. Her eyes flashed. Mo Xiaobai felt a chill down his spine. Damn, were all women so troublesome? He glanced at Li Shu's arm and changed the topic. Li Shu, are you okay? The smile on Li Shu's face froze, and his expression turned ugly. Lu Qing and the others also fell silent. Lu Qing spoke slowly. Li Shu's condition is quite serious this time. If not for timely treatment, he might have to be amputated. Li Shu waved his hand and interrupted Lu Qing. How am I serious? Compared to those little fellows who are already dead, this old fellow's luck is already very good. He picked up the wine glass, took a big gulp, and sighed deeply. Humans are not plants. How can they be emotionless? After living together for nearly a year, although he was sometimes dissatisfied with those little guys for not being sensible, seeing them die in front of him was still extremely painful in his heart. Those pairs of eyes filled with unwillingness and fear would appear in his dreams from time to time, making him feel extremely uneasy and guilty. Li Shu grabbed his hair in pain. Lu Qing and the others also fell silent. Mo Xiaobai looked at the pained Li Shu, then glanced at Natsu Ki. Natsu Ki and Mo Xiaobai had a tacit understanding. She broke the silence with a smile and said, "Li Shu, let me treat you." As she spoke, a ray of light filled with the aura of life flickered in her hand. The light fused into Li Shu's bandaged arm. Li Shu trembled, and then his eyes widened as he slowly moved his arm. "It's healed?" Li Shu muttered to himself, then removed the bandage. Looking at his healed arm, he glanced at Natsu Ki with a complicated expression. "Miss Mu, thank you." Natsu Ki slightly shook her head. "The dead can't be brought back to life. Li Shu, my condolences. This isn't your fault." Li Shu sighed. He also knew that he couldn't be blamed for the merfolk's attack. To make a living on Northern Green Lake, one's life was unpredictable. Life and death were decreed by fate. But those little guys died on my ship right in front of me. How could I let it go? Natsu Ki froze, then glanced at Mo Xiaobai. Mo Xiaobai looked at Li Shu and said, "Li Shu, can you tell us what's going on?" "The merfolk are in chaos again." Li Shu glanced at Mo Xiaobai, and his mood seemed to improve a bit. He jokingly scolded, "I knew you, kid. You don't come to the Three Treasures Palace for no reason. It must be because of this." Lu Qing and the others couldn't help but laugh. Mo Xiaobai grinned and said, "Don't say that, Li Shu. I'm also worried about you." Li Shu rolled his eyes. Then his expression turned serious. "The merfolk this time are a bit different from last time." "Different?" Mo Xiaobai raised an eyebrow. Different?" Uncle Li nodded as he recalled the blood-red, ruthless eyes from that night. "The merfolk this time are even more violent. Although this old man isn't strong enough, I still have a good eye. They seem to be in some sort of special state. Maybe they're under the influence of something." Mo Xiaobai frowned. After a moment of silence, he looked at Li Shu. "Then did you encounter the water spirits?" "Yes, water spirits." Li Shu nodded, then slapped the table. "The water spirits are in the same state as the merfolk. Their eyes are red, and they're very violent." Mo Xiaobai narrowed his eyes. "Li Shu, where were you attacked?" Li Shu glanced at Mo Xiaobai, then smiled and said, "With your strength, it shouldn't be a problem. But you have to be careful." Mo Xiaobai smiled and nodded. "Don't worry, Li Shu. We'll be careful." Li Shu nodded, then took out a map of Northern Green Lake and circled an area. "This is the area." Mo Xiaobai looked at the map, then his eyes widened. It wasn't just Mo Xiaobai. Yin Shui, Su Yin, and Natsu Ki also widened their eyes. This area wasn't far from the underground palace of the merfolk. Mo Xiaobai suddenly thought of something, and his heart trembled. The line of misfortune and good luck that he saw in the underground palace last time. Mo Xiaobai pursed his lips. The lines of misfortune and good luck that time were extremely deep. The black line was purple, and the red line was orange. Mo Xiaobai wasn't strong enough at that time, so he didn't look into it. Later on, because there were too many things to do, he forgot about it. Only now did he remember that there was such a place. Was it because of the problem there? He smiled. "Li Shu, I got it. Let's go and check it out." Li Shu nodded. "Then I'll have to trouble you. More and more fishermen are being attacked." "It's no trouble." Mo Xiaobai smiled. Lu Qing smiled and said, "Our hero of Northern Ridge Town is going to save Northern Ridge Town from disaster again." Ahem. Hearing this, Mo Xiaobai felt awkward and embarrassed. "Brother Lu, don't. What hero of Northern Ridge Town? Even I feel embarrassed when I hear it. It's not like we said it. It's what the townspeople said." Du Ling chuckled. Li Jingjing smiled. "Even heroes have to eat their fill before going to battle. Let's eat first. There's no need to rush." Mo Xiaobai and the other three looked at each other and nodded. Okay. After that, the few of them chatted about their daily lives while eating. Of course, Du Ling, Li Jingjing, and the other women were especially interested in Mo Xiaobai's love story. Every time they asked Mo Xiaobai a question, he felt like he was walking on the edge of death. Especially Yin Shui, who was beside him. She looked at Mo Xiaobai with increasing displeasure. Mo Xiaobai expressed that he was innocent. After finishing the most difficult meal of his life, Mo Xiaobai dragged the three of them and immediately ran away. If he couldn't afford to offend them, he could just hide. Chapter 326. Northern Azure Lake, on a nameless island. 4 black-robed men had just killed the last merfolk that had charged at them with no regard for their lives, and they were panting heavily on the ground. Damn it! Why are we so unlucky? Why is this happening when we're on duty? A black-robed man gripped his wounded right arm and grumbled. Behind him, a black-robed man waved his hand, and a thick black light fused into his arm. The wound wriggled and healed in just a few seconds. The leader of the black-robed men said in a low voice, "All right, we're probably just lucky. Something happened at Northern Azure Lake. If we report this, we'll be rewarded. We'll just have to wait for the higher-ups of the sect to come. Boss, do you think this has something to do with the thing we're looking for?" A black-robed man asked expectantly. As soon as he said this, the wounded man sneered. "We've been looking for it for so many years. How do you know it has something to do with that thing? Are you dreaming?" The leader of the black-robed men looked up at the dark Northern Azure Lake and shook his head. "I don't know either, but I hope it has something to do with it. Does that Death of the Tide god really exist? I heard it's a demigod. Can a demigod really die in a place like this?" Someone retorted, "Don't worry about what you shouldn't worry about, and don't ask about what you shouldn't ask. Is this something we should be discussing?" The leader of the black-robed men harshly said. The other 3 trembled and fell silent. Following this, the leader of the black-robed men spoke in a gentle tone. "I'm doing this for your own good. There's no benefit in knowing too much." The other 3 nodded and began to clean up the battlefield. Before they had finished cleaning up the battlefield, the surface of the lake in the distance began to ripple. A group of 10-some water spirits slowly rose from the surface of the lake, their crimson eyes flashing with thick, killing intent. The 4 froze. The leader of the black-robed men hurriedly pulled out his weapon. "Engage the enemy. Damn it, how can we stop so many water spirits? We're going to die here." Despair appeared in everyone's eyes. Right at this moment, a black fog came from afar and enveloped all the water spirits. After a moment of silence, the black mist dissipated and the water spirits within it disappeared. The 4 black-robed men stood rooted to the spot. Then, a stream of light descended from the sky and landed in front of the 4 black-robed men. The leader was a night creature man with long black hair and a thin face. He was dressed in a luxurious black robe. When they saw this night creature man, the 4 black-robed men shuddered and knelt on the ground hurriedly. "Greetings, Lord Envoy." Zhou Feiong, one of the 4 shadow messengers of the Shadow Sect. He was also a core member of the Shadow Cult. Who would have thought that he would come this time? The 4 Shadow Cult followers were shocked. Zhou Feiong glanced at the 4 people and then at the corpse on the ground. He nodded and smiled. "You've done well. When we return, we will reward them according to their contributions." The 4 of them were delighted. "Thank you for your praise." Beside Zhou Feiong, a barbarian man wearing a pure white robe with a gorgeous bird embroidered on it interrupted in a somewhat irritable manner. "Zhou Feiong, I didn't come here to see you give out rewards." Ji Zhuang, one of the 3 blazing angels of the Divine Fire Sect. He and Zhou Feiong could only be considered acquaintances. After all, they were both high-ranking members of the cult. Of course, in their eyes, their sect was not a cult, but a holy sect. As high-ranking members, they would occasionally cooperate. After a few exchanges, the 2 sides became familiar with each other. And this time, it was Zhou Feiong who invited him to cooperate. He couldn't refuse the generous offer. "Since Brother Ji has said so, then let's begin." Zhou Feiong smiled. "Let's go." On North Blue Lake, a small mechanical force boat was braving the wind and waves. Mo Xiaobai looked at Su Yin driving the boat and was a little surprised. "I didn't expect you to know how to drive a boat, Sister Yin. What's so difficult about that? Even Tong Tong can drive a force motorcycle. What's wrong with me driving a boat?" Su Yin said indifferently. Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui heard this and felt that it made sense. Mu Xiaodong, who was standing beside him, felt offended. She narrowed her eyes and smiled. "What's wrong with me driving a car? Is there a problem?" Seeing the smile on Natsuki's face, Mo Xiaobai and the other two shook their heads in unison. Suyin grinned. There's no problem. Tong Tong's driving skills are superb. She's practically the incarnation of the car god. No, no, no. Sister Yin, you're wrong. Sister Xia Tong is clearly the car god. Yes, 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 it's my fault. I repent. For the sake of their stomachs, Mo Xiaobai and Su Yin started licking on the spot. Yin Shui covered her mouth and snickered. Natsu Ki was embarrassed by their licking. She waved her hand with a slightly red face. All right, that's enough. Where are we going? Su Yin looked at Mo Xiaobai. Natsu Ki and Yin Shui did the same. After the adventure in the Void Realm during the summer vacation, the three of them developed a bad habit. As long as they were with Mo Xiaobai, they would lose their minds. They would go wherever Mo Xiaobai told them to go. If Mo Xiaobai pointed to the east, they would never go to the west. The direction Mo Xiaobai pointed to was always right. They were like fanatics. Of course, the various treasures obtained in the Void Realm during the vacation were really good. Mo Xiaobai said with a smile. Do you remember the underground palace during the Murlocs' rebellion last time? The three of them were stunned and their eyes widened. That place. Is there anything special about it? Yin Shui was a little surprised. Natsu Ki frowned and thought for a moment. By the way, why did the Shadow Cult control the Murlocs last time? They looked at each other. Su Yin grinned. Okay, let's go to the island from last time. With a map of northern Blue Lake, Su Yin knew the way. The Origin mechanical ship sped across the lake. The closer they got to the island, the more crazy Murlocs they encountered. Occasionally, they would even run into water spirits and other creatures. With their current combat strength, these Murlocs and water spirits were no longer a threat to them. However, this proved that Mo Xiaobai's directions were correct. After killing 4 apertured Murlocs, Yin Shui frowned as she looked at its scarlet eyes. This area seems to have been contaminated. There's something wrong with these Murlocs, water spirits, and even many other aquatic creatures. Natsu Ki and Su Yin nodded with serious expressions. Mo Xiaobai glanced at the deep northern blue lake and narrowed his eyes. Why does it feel like the Void Realm? Yeah, it's so corrosive. Yin Shui and the others agreed. We'll know when we get there. Mo Xiaobai looked into the distance. The shadow of an island slowly approached. The Murlocs' underground palace from last time was right in front of them. This time, Mo Xiaobai saw intertwining black and red lines of providence on the island. Chapter 327. As they approached the island, Su Yin looked at Mo Xiaobai. What do you think? Are we going up? Mo Xiaobai glanced at the intertwined red and black lines of providence and nodded. Let's go up. Be careful, it might be dangerous up there. Okay. The Force mechanical ship docked. Mo Xiaobai and the other 3 disembarked and looked around cautiously. Roar! Intruders! Die! As soon as they came ashore, a group of mermen rushed out of the forest near the shore. They were tall, their skin was a strange purplish black, and their eyes were blood red. What surprised Mo Xiaobai and the other 3 was that these mermen's auras were extremely powerful. Ordinary mermen were at least 5 chakra level, and there were even 6 chakra elites. Su Yin widened her eyes in disbelief. Why are these mermen so much stronger than before? Natsu Ki also frowned. Her expression was grave. Let's not worry about that. Let's kill them first. Su Yin nodded and stepped forward. She did not move, but flames spewed out from the ground and instantly covered all the mermen. The next moment, screams came from the flames and stopped abruptly. The flames were extinguished, and only charred corpses were left on the ground. The merman warriors were all dead. Yin Shui looked at the corpses on the ground and could not help but sigh. Sister Yin has become stronger. Su Yin raised her head and curled the corners of her mouth. Of course, I didn't waste my time here. Mo Xiaobai and Natsu Ki were not surprised. They'd gained a lot from the various purgatory-level void domains. Their strength had improved greatly. Perhaps their cultivation had not improved by much, but their combat strength was on a completely different level. Let's go to the underground palace from last time. Mo Xiaobai said. Do you still remember the way? Natsu Ki looked around and was a little confused. I feel like it's the same. Su-in also nodded. He didn't pay attention to where it was last time. The corners of Mo Xiao Bai's mouth twitched as black lines appeared on his forehead. He had also forgotten about it. The three of them looked at Yin Shui. Yin Shui shook her head slightly. The four of them sighed together. Mo Xiaobai looked around and said, "Follow me." There were quite a lot of red lights in the vicinity, which seemed to interfere with his vision. However, based on the intensity of the red lights in different places, he should be able to determine where he was. Oh, Su-in and the other two nodded. While Mo Xiaobai's group of four were moving, from time to time, mermen would rush out to attack them. Sometimes there were even water spirits. They also tried to communicate with the water spirit. Unfortunately, he didn't know if these water spirits had their intelligence corroded or they weren't high-level elemental spirits in the first place. He couldn't communicate with them. Thus, no matter what they encountered, they killed them all. Not long after, Mo Xiaobai found a familiar cliff. When they saw the cliff, not only Mo Xiaobai, Natsuki and Su Yin's eyes lit up. "I remember this place. Last time we jumped down from here." Su-in explained excitedly. Natsuki also nodded. "I remember this place too." Mo Xiaobai glanced at the two of them. Did these two fellows think that it was very impressive for them to only recognize it when they were already at the entrance? Although he also only remembered where the entrance was when he arrived here. "Let's go down." Su-in was about to lead the way into the water. Suddenly, she paused and turned her head to look into the distance. Not only Su-in, but Mo Xiaobai, Natsuki, and Yin Shui also frowned and looked into the distance. Whoosh! There was the sound of something breaking through the air. In the distance, streaks of black light flashed and quickly landed not far from Mo Xiaobai's group. The streaks of light turned into human figures. There were a total of 12 of them. The leader was a night creature man wearing a luxurious black robe and a barbarian man wearing a white robe with red bird patterns. After seeing these people, Su-in frowned deeply. The Shadow Cult and the Divine Fire Cult? TSK, they're like ghosts that just won't go away. Everywhere we go, we run into these scum. Natsuki had a smile on her face. Her staff appeared and streaks of light fell, increasing everyone's blessings. They found a heart of nature in a void treasure trove. It was a saint-grade treasure that could even help condense an origin crystal and comprehend laws. Although Natsuki hadn't completely digested it yet, it was enough to increase her control of the power of nature by several levels. The power of all her origin skills increased greatly. Mo Xiaobai, Su-in, and Yin Shui could all feel their physical strength increase by a large margin, and their origin power became more active. In the distance, Zhou Feiyong and Ji Zhuang's faces darkened when they saw Mo Xiaobai's group. Zhou Feiyong looked at Mo Xiaobai, a hint of coldness flashing in his eyes. "Mo Xiaobai, I didn't expect to run into you here." Mo Xiaobai rolled his eyes. "I didn't expect to run into people from the Shadow Cult here, either. Your noses are too sharp, right? You can find me anywhere." There was nothing he could do. "Don't worry, there won't be a next time. Today is the day you die." Zhou Feiyang's face was cold, and a purple-black aura surged and rose. At this moment, Ji Zhuang slowly opened his mouth. "Old Zhou, the two girls on the side are mine." Zhou Feiyang glanced at Ji Zhuang with some confusion. Ji Zhuang sneered, and the killing intent in his eyes soared. "Su-in and Natsuki, these two women destroyed 2 of our strongholds in a row some time ago." Zhou Feiyang looked at Ji Zhuang with a speechless face. His face was full of curses. When did the Divine Flame sect become so useless? 2 little girls destroyed 2 strongholds directly. Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui also looked at Su-in and Natsuki with some confusion. Su-in shrugged. "I didn't want to, but Tong Tong and I happened to run into a group of people from the Divine Flame sect preaching some teachings of the God of Fire. We just followed them." Natsuki smiled. "How could those low-level disciples see our strength? I didn't expect to find a lot of interesting things by following the clues." Zhou Feiyang looked at Ji Zhuang more and more like he was looking at an idiot. Ji Zhuang's face was full of shame and anger. The accident this time really made their divine fire sect lose a great deal of face. Even their gods were enraged. Only by killing Su-in and Natsu-ki could their god's anger be appeased. Su-in was still complaining discontentedly. I originally wanted to get a mark of divine resentment like you, Xiaobai, but I didn't expect that the god of fire was unwilling to give it to me. The god of shadow is generous. Ji Zhuang, Zhou Feiyang, they all felt offended. Moreover, their god was also insulted. You're courting death. Powerful auras rose from all of them. The auras of Zhou, Fei, Ong, and Ji Zhuang, who were the leaders, made the earth tremble slightly. 8 apertures. 2. Chapter 328. In addition to the 2 8 apertures, there were 6 7 apertures. There were also 4 apertures black-robed men. Mo Xiaobai glanced at the 4 apertures black-robed men and was dumbfounded. Are they here to act cute? The 4 black-robed men were also dumbfounded. What the F***CK? Are we going to participate in a battle of 7 apertures and 8 apertures? Tears welled up in their eyes. Is it too late to go back and fight the mermaids? TSK 2 8 apertures. Su-in clicked her tongue and stepped forward. A powerful golden-red flame surged in her eyes, and the temperature suddenly rose. She stepped forward, and a red lotus rose under her feet. She stepped on the red lotus and stepped into the air. 7 apertures. Su-in was already at the peak of 6 apertures. More than a month ago, she and Natsu-ki had broken through to 7 apertures. They had broken through to 7 apertures at their age. It was extremely rare. Su-yin's aura made Zhou Feiyang and Ji Zhuang's pupils contract violently. How could she be so strong? Su-yin grinned. That's how strong I am. Boom! A pair of golden-red angel wings appeared behind her back. She flapped them, and the next moment, she appeared in front of Zhou Feiyang as if she had teleported. Boom! Her spears smashed down like a long rod. Zhou Feiyang condensed a black mist to block it. The black mist dissipated, and Zhou Feiyang was sent flying. Ji Zhuang was shocked. She's stronger than I thought. Is this 7 apertures? Huh. He had no time to think. He roared and charged towards Su-in. If 2 8 apertures experts ran away from a person who had just broken through to 7 apertures, they would not be able to survive. Su-in saw that Ji Zhuang dared to charge at her, and her eyes flashed with fighting spirit. Come on. She flapped her angel wings and charged forward. Boom, 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 boom. Su-in immediately unleashed her invincible prowess, suppressing both of them by herself. The crowd gradually formed on the battlefield. Several experts with 7 apertures opened looked at Mo Xiaobai and Yin Shui. Without Qi Chao, we can kill Mo Xiaobai together. He may be strong, but we have 6 7 apertures masters. I don't believe he can escape. They were all branch leaders of the Shadow Cult and Divine Flame Cult. This time, he came here because he had something important to do. Otherwise, how could they possibly gather so many experts? However, as long as they could kill Mo Xiaobai, even if they couldn't complete their mission, it would still be a huge gain for them. They rushed towards Mo Xiaobai with murderous intent. Mo Xiaobai looked at the few people rushing towards him and laughed. Perfect. I haven't fought in a long time. Let's try out a new origin skill. Mo Xiaobai stepped forward, and the sound of surging tides could be heard from within his body. The dark golden flame aura slowly began to burn. Dark gold star. Saint-level body refining origin skill. It made one's body as strong as a star. Although Mo Xiaobai admitted that it was a bit exaggerated. It was indeed strong. Just a beginner's level was enough to increase his physical strength by a large margin. It could even condense origin power. That was very exaggerated. And on Mo Xiaobai's forehead, 3 battle tattoos had completely condensed. His battle intent had exploded, and he had reached perfection. In addition, there were all sorts of other body-refining enhancements. Mo Xiaobai merely stood there, and the air trembled slightly. Even he himself was a bit afraid of his current physical strength. He was very strong. Don't! He stepped on the ground, and the earth was directly torn apart. Mo Xiao Bai's body instantly appeared in front of a night creature man. His somewhat frightened figure watched as Mo Xiao Bai's fist grew larger and larger in front of him. Boom! His defensive shield was torn apart, and his origin power protection was like a thin piece of paper. He was directly sent flying by the punch, leaving behind a bit of blood in the air. Only then did he scream. The other people who were charging forward suddenly paused and hurriedly stopped their bodies. They didn't dare to charge anymore. Everyone looked at Mo Xiao Bai in disbelief. Was he that strong? Stay away from him. This guy's physical body is too strong. Everyone's hearts turned cold, and they immediately fled into the air. Mo Xiao Bai glanced at the people in the air, somewhat speechless. These people were bullying him because he couldn't fly? At this moment, the originally hot air suddenly cooled down. The people in the air were stunned, and they turned to look at the source of the cold air. Yin Shui's short black hair had unknowingly turned icy blue, and a cold mist lingered around her body. Her icy blue eyes were cold and emotionless, and she kept drawing the ice bow in her hand. Test, test, test. Frost arrows shot out one after another. The power of these frost arrows was several times stronger than the previous ones. Extreme Frost Arrow. It was also a saint-level origin skill, although the current Yin Shui couldn't fully unleash its power due to the problem of her cultivation. But her combat strength was also much higher than before. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The ice arrows seemed to have pierced through space, and they instantly blocked in front of them. Block it. All of them felt a fatal threat, and their scalps went numb. They roared and used all their strength to block it. Boom, boom, boom. Explosions rang out, except for one whose body was directly pierced through. Although the others' bodies were invaded by the cold air, they only suffered minor injuries and weren't particularly serious. However, the injury in their hearts was more serious. The few people in the air looked at Mo Xiao Bai and Yin Shui in shock. They were a group of 7 chakra powerhouses, but they were crushed by 2 5-chakra powerhouses. How could this be? When did 5-chakra powerhouses become so strong? As the saying goes, the greatest sorrow is the death of the heart. This was more or less what it meant. They felt that they had wasted their entire life's cultivation. It was so boring. What was there to cultivate for? Even their fighting spirit had been crushed. Everyone was shocked when they saw Yin Shui continue to draw the bow expressionlessly. Run! No one knew who it was, but someone shouted first. The others planned to follow suit. Natsuki smiled. You can't run away. She hooked her right hand, and the people in the sky turned pale and fell from the sky. Seeing this, Yin Shui let go of the longbow, and her icy blue hair returned to its original black color. The 4 black-robed men were still standing on the ground. They were still a little confused. What happened? Their masters lost just like that? Things happened too quickly, and they were a little confused. Mo Xiao Bai looked at the 4 trembling people and revealed a trace of a smile. The 4 of them trembled. They saw with their own eyes that this young man sent a 7-chakra powerhouse flying with one punch. They looked behind them and saw that 7-chakra powerhouse lying on the ground. They didn't know if he was dead or alive. Perhaps he was already dead. This young man was smiling at them. Their hearts turned cold as well. Boom, boom. At this moment, 2 explosions came from the sky. Then, 2 figures quickly fell and crashed heavily on the ground. They were Zhou Feiyang and Ji Zhuang. At this moment, their faces were pale and their breathing was weak. There was a hint of fear on their faces. The 4 black-robed men's pupils dilated. Even a messenger, their last hope, lost? Chapter 329. Cough, cough, cough. Zhou Feiyang and Ji Zhuang kept coughing up blood and looked at Suyin in horror. She was too strong. She didn't look like someone who had just opened 7 apertures. Suyin glanced at the experts of the Shadow Sect and the Divine Flame Sect and grinned. Let's kill a few of them. Agreed. Mo Xiao Bai and the others nodded in agreement. The experts of the Shadow Sect and the Divine Flame Sect who were seriously injured in the distance were stunned. What the hell? Kill them at the drop of a hat. However, they didn't beg for mercy. As evil gods, members of the sacred sect, if they were caught, they wouldn't have a good ending. They would either lose their freedom or their lives. It was up to them to choose. Seeing that they didn't speak, Emo Xiaobai and the others frowned. Natsu Ki clenched his right hand, and all the poisoned experts screamed again and again. "Tell me, why are you here?" With a gentle smile on his face, Natsu Ki spoke to the experts who were in so much pain that their faces were distorted. One by one, the experts screamed in agony, but no one said a word. Natsu Ki and the others were not in a hurry. They waited quietly. After a while, they frowned. Emo Xiaobai glanced at the experts whose faces were purple. "It seems that they won't talk." Natsu Ki nodded and clenched his right hand. Suddenly, all the experts died on the spot. Suyin curled her lips. "You're quite stubborn." Yin Shui blinked and pointed at Zhou Feiyong and Ji Zhuang. "There are two more here." Their faces darkened. Zhou Feiyong glanced at them coldly. "It's just torture. Why should we be afraid?" As soon as he finished speaking, Ji Zhuang said, "I'm willing to talk. I just want a quick death." Zhou Feiyong. He opened his eyes wide and looked at Ji Zhuang. He was stunned. "Ji Zhuang, what do you mean?" Ji Zhuang also looked back at him coldly. "What do I mean? I'm here because of your invitation. If it weren't for you, would I have fallen to this point?" Zhou Feiyong was speechless. For a moment, he did not know how to answer. Ji Zhuang sneered. "Besides, this is your shadow cult's mission. What does it have to do with me?" Zhou Feiyong was so angry that he was short of breath and coughed up blood. "So why are you here?" Emo Xiaobai asked curiously. "The shadow cult said that there is a relic here and asked us to help them find it." Emo Xiaobai narrowed his eyes. "What ruins?" Ji Zhuang shook his head slightly. "I don't know." Zhou Feiyong didn't say. Emo Xiaobai and the other three all looked at Zhou Feiyong. Zhou Feiyong sneered and did not speak at all. "It's gone." Suyin glanced at Ji Zhuang. He had an expression of "that's it." Ji Zhuang also looked embarrassed. "No more." That was all he knew. They shook their heads. Su Yin's spear swept out, and golden red flames engulfed both of them. Emo Xiaobai thought for a moment. That relic was probably in the area of the underground palace last time. So, because of the accident last time that relic was opened, Emo Xiaobai had a guess. What about them? Yin Shui glanced at the four black-robed men who were shivering in the distance. The four black-robed men felt that they were so innocent. Damn it. They thought that with the help of the emissary, they would be promoted, get a raise, and marry a rich and beautiful woman. Good heavens. They were so happy. They didn't expect the emissary to be so weak. They couldn't even defeat a seven-apertured body fundamentalist. What could they do? They were just four apertured weaklings. They were full of despair. Emo Xiaobai also glanced at them. Seeing that they were shivering, he was about to speak. At this moment, one of the black-robed men suddenly spoke. "Wait, we also know something." "Oh." Emo Xiaobai looked at them in surprise. He didn't expect that these guys who looked like small fries actually knew something. "What do you know?" Yin Shui looked at the four coldly. Fear appeared in the eyes of the four black-robed men, and they trembled. This young lady had just killed a seven-apertures expert with a single arrow. Being looked at like this, they felt as if their souls were about to be frozen. Emo Xiaobai patted Yin Shui's head helplessly. "Xiao Shui, you scared them." Yin Shui covered her head and glared at Emo Xiaobai. Then she glanced at the four black-robed men disdainfully and no longer looked at them. The four black-robed men sighed in relief. "Speak. We're all direct descendants of the shadow cult. This isn't a secret among the direct descendants of the shadow cult. Our cult master found a piece of information in an ancient book." "What information?" Emo Xiaobai and the other three were a little curious. The leader of the black-robed men gulped. Originally, Northern Blue Lake and Bloody Moor were connected. There was no lake here, but in the final battle, a demigod fell here. That's how Northern Blue Lake came to be. Emo Xiaobai and the other three held their breaths. They looked at each other and saw a trace of surprise in each other's eyes. There was such a piece of information. The black-robed man carefully looked at Emo Xiaobai and the other three. "Legend has it that the demigod's tomb is located in northern Blue Lake. Mo Xiaobai suddenly thought of something, and his eyes widened slightly. What's the demigod's name? It's said to be called Tide. Tide? Mo Xiaobai's heart trembled. It really was that guy. The giant deer in the history of King Ming, the Tide God? He didn't expect it to fall in the end. Could it be the underground palace led to the Tide God's tomb? Mo Xiaobai was looking forward to it. That was the tomb of a demigod. He wondered how many treasures there would be. We've told you everything we know. I hope you can spare our lives. The 4 black-robed men's willpower was clearly not as strong as the 7-chakra and 8-chakra upper echelons. They knelt on the ground and began to beg for mercy. Mo Xiaobai and the other 3 looked at each other. Natsu Ki said, "When the time comes, bring them back and lock them up." Mo Xiaobai nodded. Okay. Su Yin and Yin Shui also nodded in agreement. Natsu Ki pointed at the 4 of them. The 4 of them immediately fainted. Mo Xiaobai looked at the 4 unconscious people, then looked at the deep lake and said slowly, "The underground palace might lead to that demigod's tomb. That underground palace might lead to the tomb of a demigod. It's very dangerous. Let's be careful when we go in." The line of misfortune below was quite exaggerated. It was so black that it was a little purple. However, it was much better than the last time. Natsu Ki, Su Yin, and Yin Shui also nodded with a solemn expression. Of course, they knew their limits. Let's go in. Mo Xiaobai jumped into the lake first, and Su Yin and the other 2 followed. After passing through the winding passage, they once again arrived at the empty space. However, as soon as they arrived, Mo Xiaobai and the other 3 frowned deeply. The power of the void? It's so dense. The empty space was filled with purplish-black fog. It was all the power of the void. Chapter 330. At this moment, a few red dots of light appeared in the depths of the dark cave. Then, the sound of heavy footsteps and heavy breathing could be heard. A few tall figures walked out of the shadows. Mermen, giant mermen, and water spirits. The mermen's skin had turned purplish-black, while the water spirits' originally blue water had turned light purple. Their eyes were crimson red, and they looked a little crazy and violent. Seeing this, Mo Xiaobai and the others took a deep breath. Looks like they've all been corroded. Su Yin furrowed his brows, his expression turning solemn. Roar! Intruders die! The mermen and water spirits all pounced forward, their auras surging wildly. All of them had opened 6 apertures, and they were all elites. The leading merman was even a leader. Mo Xiaobai and Su Yin stepped forward at the same time. Mo Xiaobai's fist punched the leader of the mermen to death. Su Yin waved her spear, and flames raged, killing the other mermen. With their strength, these mermen and water spirits were still too weak. Let's continue. They continued to go deeper. In a winding passage, there were mermen and water spirits patrolling every once in a while. However, Mo Xiaobai and the others easily crushed them. Not long after, they returned to the familiar hall from last time. When they came to the hall, they opened their eyes slightly, and a trace of surprise flashed through their eyes. On the merman's throne, a huge pitch-black water spirit was sitting on it. Hearing the sound, the pitch-black water spirit looked up. His dark red eyes flashed with a deep and tyrannical aura. Humans, elves, barbarians, night creatures have been exterminated? Mo Xiaobai and the other 3 looked at each other in dismay. Mo Xiaobai shook his head. Night creatures are still here. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Hearing Mo Xiaobai's words, the water in the pitch-black water spirit's body sped up. Its aura surged, and strands of black water spread out, covering the entire hall. Mo Xiaobai and the rest had already stepped into the black water. Natsu Ki glanced at the black water on the ground and raised his eyebrows slightly. The staff in her hand paused on the ground. Dong! Green light surged and enveloped the 4 of them. There was a gentle smile on her face. This water is poisonous, but not as poisonous as mine. Damn elves! All of you mortals deserve to die. Because of Natsu Ki's resistance, the pitch-black water spirit was enraged and roared. His aura began to rise. 7 apertures, commander level. Very strong, but not strong enough for Mo Xiaobai and the other 3. Su Yin took a step forward. Golden red flames surged, evaporating a large amount of black water. She waved the spear in her hand. With a dragon's roar, the flame dragons rushed towards the pitch-black water spirit. Boom! Boom! No, no! How can it be such a strong power? The pitch-black watery spirit's terrified voice rang out. Then it was torn apart by the flame dragons, turning into a pool of black water that flowed on the ground. The black water that originally filled the hall also disappeared. Mo Xiaobai and the rest looked at the black water on the ground and frowned. There's not a single transcendent material left. It's just a projection of power. Then what about the main body? Yin Shui was a bit confused. Mo Xiaobai looked at a corner. This was a place filled with fate lines that Mo Xiaobai saw last time. At this time, following the death of the pitch-black water spirit, the space in that corner fluctuated and a large spatial gate appeared. This is a void domain? Yin Shui, Natsuki, and Suyin all opened their eyes wide in surprise. Mo Xiaobai narrowed his eyes. This really is the tomb of the Tide God. Hearing this, Su Yin showed an excited expression. This is the tomb of a demigod. There should be a lot of good stuff, right? Let's go in and take a look. Natsuki frowned slightly. Will it be dangerous? She was more concerned about whether the level of danger was within the range that they could bear. Mo Xiaobai glanced at the black fate lines that were a little purple and the red fate lines that were a little orange. It's dangerous, but if we run, we should be able to escape. We can go in and take a look. Seeing that even Mo Xiaobai said so, Natsuki nodded. Then let's go in. Yin Shui naturally had no objections. She was the youngest, so she listened to Natsuki and Mo Xiaobai. As for Su Yin, in Yin Shui's opinion, she was not as reliable as her. Mo Xiaobai and Su Yin walked in front, Natsuki in the middle, and Yin Shui behind. The 4 of them entered the space. At the Shadow Sect's headquarters, the statue of Yu Jiang suddenly flashed with a deep black light. Sect leader Hua, he suddenly looked up, his eyes wide open. The Oracle! It's the Oracle! He hurriedly bowed down devoutly and listened. A moment later, he opened his eyes, and a trace of shock and surprise flashed in his eyes. I didn't expect that the death of the Tide God was real, and it was found. It must be Zhou Feiong and the others. They found it. No, I have to contact them as soon as possible. Huai took out his communication crystal and began to contact Zhou Feiong. However, as time passed, Huai's expression changed. He became extremely solemn. No one answered the call. Damn it, what's going on? Huai's expression was extremely cold. Then, a trace of disbelief appeared on his face. Did something happen to Zhou Feiong? No. How is that possible? He's an 8-aperture divine flame sect angel. How could something happen to him? But why isn't he answering the call? Huai's expression kept changing. Zhou Feiong knew the importance of the death of the Tide God. Once he discovered it, he would definitely report it to him immediately. Even if there were people from the Divine Flame sect around, he would find a reason to escape and report it. What's going on? Did something really happen? After his expression changed, he gritted his teeth. Go to North Azure Lake. Although it was dangerous, he had to go. After stepping through the spatial door, Mo Xiaobai and the others appeared in a huge and deep cave. As soon as they appeared, a group of patrolling figures roared and charged toward them. What shocked Mo Xiaobai and the others was that these people were all rabbit men. Moreover, their skin was pale and dry, and there were some places where only bones were left. Undead. Mo Xiaobai and the others' expressions changed. And they're so strong. Suyin furrowed his brows. Just the patrolling teammates were already 7-apertured elites, and the leader was the leader. Compared to outside, they were an entire realm stronger. This was a little exaggerated. The void energy here is even denser than outside. Yin Shui frowned slightly. Wisps of cold mist surged and enveloped Mo Xiaobai and the others. Ice Heart Domain. A legendary grade domain origin skill. It could gather the spiritual power of a body fundamentalist within the domain and resist negative effects. Most importantly, it increased the affinity of the ice element. However, Yin Shui was the only one here who used the ice element, mainly to resist the corrosion of the void energy. Chapter 331. With the Ice Heart domain, Emo Xiaobai and the others felt their minds clear up. Living beings, this place is forbidden. Trespassers will die. The leader of the undead rabbit men roared. His origin power surged and formed a powerful aura. Suyin's expression turned cold. Shut up. She took a step forward, and the golden red flames condensed into a spear. The spear pierced through the entire passage, and none of the undead rabbit men could resist. The ordinary seven-orifice rabbit men were vaporized, and the leader of the rabbit men also turned into charred corpses. Let's continue. Suyin walked to the front. Emo Xiaobai and the others followed behind silently. The passage in the tomb's secret realm was very winding and long. Along the way, there were many undead rabbit men. When they saw Emo Xiaobai and the others, they roared and attacked. They were not rational. Of course, they were very fragile and would shatter with a touch. After walking through a winding passage, Emo Xiaobai and the others arrived at an empty space. In the space, there were wisps of rich, purplish-black void power surging. What surprised Emo Xiaobai and the other three was that there were actually quite a few abyss devils in this space. When the demons saw Emo Xiaobai and the others, they were also stunned. Then, their dark red eyes flashed with light. Mortals, kill! Emo Xiaobai and the others raised their eyebrows slightly. These demons were all at the peak of seven-orifice rabbit men. Emo Xiaobai took a step forward. The heavy sword in his hand slashed through the air with a dazzling golden sword intent. Chi, the sky-barren breath, cut through the body of a demon and split it into two. Purplish-black blood spurted all over the ground. On the other side, Su-In also stabbed with her spear, killing the demons. Soon, they killed all the demons. They looked at the various transcendent materials on the ground and were a little stunned. No wonder there's such rich void power here. Looks like there are many demons here. Were they buried together with the Tide God in the ancient times? Should be. Emo Xiaobai was a little uncertain. There are probably even more powerful demons inside. Let's go and take a look. Yes. The four of them picked up the transcendent materials on the ground and continued to move inside. Along the way, he killed all the undead rabbit men and demons he encountered. After an unknown amount of time, they turned into a passage and suddenly stopped. He looked ahead in surprise. There was a huge hall in front of them. In the depths of the hall was a throne. On the throne sat a rabbit man with a lowered head. He was wearing tattered armor and holding a huge blade. The rabbit man didn't seem to have decayed. He looked like a living person. On both sides of the rabbit men were 2 rows of 12 undead rabbit men. They were all leaders. After Emo Xiaobai and the others entered, the rabbit man slowly raised his head and looked at the 4 of them with his deep red eyes. Ugh, how long have I been asleep? A hoarse voice sounded. You did my king win? His voice was powerful and oppressive. Who's your king? Emo Xiaobai and the others looked at each other and their eyes flashed. The rabbitman's eyes were filled with fanaticism. Of course, it's the great Blood King. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, Emo Xiaobai and Su-In had already rushed forward. Behind the 2 of them, Yin Shui drew her longbow, and Natsuki buffed them with various buffs. At the same time, she tapped her staff, and 2 huge treants rushed out from the ground. How dare you? The rabbit man roared. How dare you attack the great rabbit man, General Meng Ping? Meng Ping suddenly stood up amidst the roar. His huge body was more than 3 meters tall and extremely muscular. He waved the huge blade in his hand, and a powerful aura surged. It was as if a sleeping beast was slowly awakening. The power in his body was also awakening bit by bit. At the same time, the black lines of misfortune on his body became darker and even showed signs of developing towards purple. Emo Xiaobai's expression changed. Kill him as soon as possible. This guy has just woken up from a deep sleep, and his power hasn't fully awakened. When he awakens, I'm afraid we won't be a match for him." Hearing Imo Xiao Bai's words, Su Yin, Yin Shui, and Natsu Ki's expressions changed. Huh. A golden red flame appeared in Su Yin's eyes. Flames condensed on the spear in her hand, and her aura became stronger. Sacred Flame Spear. Sacred Technique. A powerful aura surged out along with Su Yin's sacred technique. The entire cave trembled. However, the rocks in this tomb secret realm might have been affected by the tide, God's divine power, and became very sturdy. Even such a powerful energy fluctuation did not cause any cracks to appear on the rocks. This, sensing the powerful aura on Su Yin's body, Meng Ping's pupils constricted and he was shocked. Your cultivation can't be at 7 chakras. How could a 7 chakras barbarian be so powerful? Even in ancient times, such a person had never appeared. Su Yin's face was cold and expressionless. A pair of angelic wings condensed from flames appeared on her back. Flapping her angelic wings, Su Yin turned into a ray of light and rushed toward Meng Ping. Her entire body turned into a spear condensed from sacred flames. Meng Ping's expression changed drastically. He roared and half of his body turned blood red and the other half purplish-black. His muscles expanded and his aura rose. Block it! He used his giant blade to block in front of his body. Boom! With a loud explosion, violent flames and shock waves surged and covered the entire cave. Natsu Ki waved her staff and a huge light barrier enveloped her, Yin Shui, and Imo Xiao Bai. As for the rabbit men undead leaders, they were sent flying by the shock waves and crashed heavily into the wall. Those who got too close died immediately. At the center of the collision, a huge figure burning with golden flames flew out. It was Meng Ping. His strength had not fully recovered and could not completely block Su Yin's sacred flame spear. He coughed out a mouthful of blood. His aura surged and attacked the flames on his body. At this moment, a figure appeared beside him. A golden sword ray flashed. Meng Ping's expression changed drastically. He did not have time to adjust his body and blocked with his sword again. Clang! Before he could stabilize his body, he was sent flying again. In the air, an ice arrow pierced through the air and landed heavily on his armor. The ice arrow pierced half of his body and cold air entered his body. Meng Ping let out a furious roar as he was heavily injured. At this moment, a spear wrapped in flames appeared in front of him. Chi! The spear pierced through his chest and came out from his back, nailing him to the wall. Boom! Flames spewed out and extinguished his life force. Meng Ping's eyes widened. The light in his eyes slowly dimmed with a trace of disbelief. I actually died in the hands of a 7 chakras weakling. I can't accept this. I'm my king. Bloody wilderness, guardian ruins. The Blood King opened his eyes. There was a trace of light flowing in his blood-red eyes. This aura is Meng Ping? His figure flashed and arrived on the altar. Wisps of blood-red flames burned. After the blood-red flames burned vigorously, he reached out and entered the blood-red flames. In the death of the Tide God, a blood-red light suddenly surged out of the dead Meng Ping's body and entered the blood-red flames that suddenly appeared in the air. This is Imo Xiao Bai, and the others were shocked. What is that? Su Yin gripped her spear tightly. Natsu Ki frowned slightly. I seem to have sensed this aura in Bloody Wilderness before. Yin Shui was stunned. Her eyes widened. Blood King. Chapter 332. The atmosphere in the cave fell into a deathly silence. The four of them looked at each other. They did not expect the Blood King to have such a strange power. After a moment of silence, Natsu Ki frowned and said slowly, After we get out, Xiao Shui, inform your father that Meng Ping might not be dead. Yin Shui nodded solemnly. Although Meng Ping's soul might not be dead, his corpse was here. Perhaps it was due to the corrosion of the void energy, but Meng Ping's corpse actually started to produce extraordinary items. Flesh and blood flowed towards the giant blade. Soon, the giant blade shrunk to about 2 meters long. It flashed with diamond light. Imo Xiao Bai and the others were surprised. Sacred weapon? You're quite lucky. Su Yin chuckled and patted Mo Xiao Bai's shoulder. The only one who used a sword here was Mo Xiao Bai. Mo Xiao Bai smiled and picked up the giant sword. Dark Frost Meng Ping's blood-drinking blade. It was very strong. Even with Mo Xiao Bai's current physical strength, it could increase his strength by close to 20%. Moreover, when using this weapon to injure the enemy, it could also absorb the enemy's blood and origin power to recover one's own blood and origin power. This function might be very strong for others. However, for Mo Xiao Bai, it was just icing on the cake. Whether it was the recovery speed of his physical body or origin power, he was too fast. However, the increase in strength was still possible. Mo Xiao Bai waved the Dark Frost Giant's sword and nodded in satisfaction. Let's go. Su Yin smiled and walked at the front. Mo Xiao Bai and the others followed. Beside Meng Ping's throne was a tunnel that led deeper. In the tunnel, the void energy was getting denser. The number of rabbit men undead decreased, while the number of evil demons increased. Moreover, the strength of these demons had become stronger than before. Of course, there was no difference in essence. They were the type that could be easily killed. Mo Xiao Bai's group of 4 were unstoppable as they drove their unparalleled over. Soon, they arrived at the second giant hole. In this hole, there was a huge demon that was more than 8 meters tall. This demon was covered in a black carapace. It had a ferocious face and 2 curved horns on its head. It also had a pair of thick bat wings on its back. A powerful aura emanated from his body. His aura was even stronger than Meng Ping's. The demon seemed to be doing some kind of experiment. There was a corpse lying on the table in front of him. It was the corpse of a treant. At this moment, the treant's corpse was engraved with purplish-black patterns. Hearing Mo Xiao Bai and the others walking in, the demon turned to look at them. After seeing the 4 of them, the devil was taken aback. Then, his ferocious face revealed a gentle smile. "Oh, for mortals? Let me see. Your strength is not bad. It seems that I have a new experimental subject." Hearing this, Mo Xiao Bai and the others' faces darkened. How dare this guy treat them as experimental subjects? What kind of joke was this? Su Yin's face was cold. The flames on her body burned fiercely as a violent aura surged. In the hole, other than the experiment table, there were some experimental equipment. There was some purplish-black liquid bubbling and looking disgusting. At this moment, under the high temperature, the experimental equipment was almost melted. The purplish-black liquid evaporated and turned into a purplish-black mist. Seeing this, the originally gentle demon's expression changed, and he roared in anger. "Damn barbarian! Barbaric and ignorant barbarian! Do you know what you're doing?" Su Yin laughed coldly. "Of course I'm going to kill you." She waved the spear in her hand and charged towards the demon. The demon raised his right hand, and a void shield appeared in his hand. Boom! The void shield blocked the spear. The demon looked at the almost destroyed laboratory with a furious expression. "I won't forgive you. My little cuties, come out," he roared. In the rooms on both sides of the hole, pairs of blood-red eyes suddenly lit up. Then, a bunch of strange-looking creatures rushed out. Some had the skulls of rabbit men, but the bodies of demons. Some had the body of a demon, but there were branches on their heads. It was very strange. However, the aura of these creatures was much stronger than the monsters they had encountered before. They were all at the peak of the 7-apertured level. They were even close to the level of a leader. Mo Xiao Bai and the other 2 were a little stunned. Natsu Ki was a little surprised. She looked at the demon in the distance with a strong desire for knowledge. This demon is quite powerful. He can actually combine these things. How'd he do it? Mo Xiao Bai and Yin Shui saw Natsu Ki's sparkling eyes and felt their scalps go numb. "Sister Xiaodong, don't tell me you're planning to learn this?" Yin Shui was a little uncertain. "I kind of want to learn it." Natsu Ki had a gentle smile on her face. Mo Xiao Bai's face twitched. "Young mistress, why don't we let those creatures out there go? They're very pitiful." Yin Shui nodded repeatedly. At this moment, Su Yin's exasperated voice sounded. "Hey, the 3 of you are just watching the show. They turned around and saw that Su-Yin and the demon were locked in a fierce battle. However, a bunch of strange-looking creatures had surrounded Su-Yin. They were starting to help the demon attack. Mo Xiaobai grinned, and a giant Hellfrost sword appeared. Sister Yin, I'm here to help. He stepped on the ground and left an afterimage on the spot. He instantly appeared behind an undead rabbit man with demon wings. His body turned dark gold. Violent power surged as he slashed with his giant sword. A silver light flashed. Swish! The undead rabbit man was instantly cut in half. Its corpse fell to the ground. Mo Xiaobai turned into a series of afterimages. Every time he swung his sword, a corpse fell to the ground. There were dozens of Mo Xiaobai's afterimages on the field. In a short moment, all the test subjects were dead. Mo Xiaobai looked at the giant sword with satisfaction. He had to admit that the holy weapon was very handy. Look at what you've done. Seeing that his test subjects were all killed by Mo Xiaobai, the demon immediately roared. Purplish-black fog surged around his body. In the next moment, his body expanded and was shrouded in the purplish-black fog. An aura even more powerful than before surged out. Mo Xiaobai and the others narrowed their eyes. Attack together! Mu Xiaodong waved her staff and cast a blessing on everyone. At the same time, poison attacks fell on the purplish-black demon's body. Yin Shui's hair turned icy blue. She immediately activated Extreme Frost Arrow. Mo Xiaobai and Su Yin's aura also surged. This demon was actually close to the level of an overlord of the same level. For them, there's a lot of pressure. Chapter 333. Su Yin's body was covered in a flaming armor as she stood in front of the demon. She waved the spear in her hand and charged towards the demon with blazing flames. Mo Xiaobai's eyes flashed with a dark golden light as he pressed down with the greatsword in his hand. Holy skill, star-slashing sword. This was also a holy skill that Mo Xiaobai had obtained from the Void Treasure. It could be activated with one's physical body or origin power. Its power was extremely terrifying. Whoosh! The shockwave turned into a gust of wind that swept through the entire cave. A dark golden light flashed as Mo Xiaobai appeared in front of the demon. He raised his great sword above his head and slashed down. Psst! Space fluctuated as the sharp sound of the sword rang out. Feeling the sharp sword intent, the demon suddenly raised his head. His blood-red eyes and the purplish-black mist became even more profound. Roar! He roared as he raised his hands. The purplish-black mist surged and formed a deep purplish-black shield above his head. Boom! The great sword and the shield collided as the purplish-black mist scattered. The powerful force caused the demon's expression to change as he staggered back half a step. The middle gate was wide open. At this moment, a golden red light flashed as the high temperature caused the space to distort. Sacred Flame Spear. Psst! The Sacred Flame Spear pierced the demon's chest with extreme heat. The demon felt a strong threat as his pupils shrank as he forced the purplish-black mist to gather. A shield was formed in front of him again. However, this hurriedly formed shield was a bit weak compared to the Sacred Flame Spear. In the instant of contact, the shield shattered and the purplish-black mist evaporated. The Sacred Flame Spear pierced through the demon's chest. Roar! Damn mortal! The demon went completely crazy from the heavy injuries. He stomped his feet on the ground as purplish-black mist rose from the ground. Then Mo Xiaobai and the others felt their consciousness become chaotic as their bodies froze. Void power, chaos domain. Die! The demon roared and waved a huge claw condensed from purplish-black mist. The claw slammed into Su Yin's chest. Cracks appeared on the armor in front of his chest, and Su Yin's body was sent flying. Right at this moment, a glint flashed across Mo Xiaobai's eyes. The combination of the ancient will and the ice heart domain allowed Mo Xiaobai to possess an extremely strong will. He woke up in the blink of an eye. The demon was planning to chase after Su Yin. Mo Xiaobai tightened his grip on the giant sword in his hand once more as all the energy in his body surged. Mo Xiaobai who had used a holy skill, felt sore all over. The second time he used it, his skin cracked and blood gushed out. However, his expression did not change in the slightest. His cracked body healed almost at the same time. Star-slashing sword. Chi. Purplish-black blood spurted out. The giant sword tore through the devil's armor, leaving a deep wound on his body, from the left shoulder to the right waist. Ah! The demon screamed. His body staggered due to the pain and injury. At this moment, Su-in, Natsuki, and Yin Shui also regained consciousness. Su-in fell to the ground and coughed up blood. Her aura became weak. At this moment, an emerald green light enveloped her body. Not far away, Natsuki closed her eyes slightly. Her beautiful face had a hint of holiness. Holy skill, nature's bloom. A powerful force of nature surged into Su-yin's body. Her face turned from pale to rosy in an instant. Cracking sounds could be heard from her chest. Her bones were recovering, and her blood was flowing. The moment the light of nature's bloom disappeared, Su-in jumped up from the ground. She waved the spear that had not left her hand even after being sent flying. She grinned and blew a kiss to Natsuki. Muop, tong tong, love you. Then she turned her head. Her expression became fierce again. She stomped on the ground and disappeared. She charged toward the devil again. The devil's injuries were very serious. Blood spurted out. However, at this moment, he grabbed the treant behind him with one hand. The next moment, wisps of purplish-black mist surged into the devil's body. The wounds on his body wriggled and began to heal. Although it was not as exaggerated as nature's bloom, it was already very fast. At this moment, a series of ice arrows shot toward him. The target was the devil and the treant that was beginning to wither. Chi chi chi. The ice arrows landed on the devil's body. A thin layer of ice covered his body. The ice arrows that landed on the treant did not have the devil's powerful strength to resist them, so they spread faster. In almost an instant, the entire treant was frozen into an ice sculpture. Then an ice arrow landed on the ice sculpture. Crack! The ice sculpture shattered. Seeing the ice sculpture shatter and the purplish-black mist disappear, the demon widened its eyes. No! He suddenly turned his head and looked in Yin Shui's direction with his blood-red eyes. Die! Just as he turned his head to look at Yin Shui, Emo Xiaobai and Su-in had already charged over. Emo Xiaobai used the star-slashing sword for the third time. Blood covered his entire body. Su-in also used the sacred flame spear again. Their attacks reached the devil in an instant. The devil wanted to dodge, but he realized that his body was affected by the ice and had become much slower. His blood-red eyes were filled with unwillingness. No! Chi! Chi! Two muffled sounds could be heard. The sacred flame spear pierced through the devil's heart. The star-slashing sword cut off the devil's head. Blood spurted out. The devil's head flew out and rolled on the ground. His huge body also lost its strength. The purplish-black mist dispersed, and he began to shrink to his original size. He swayed and fell to the ground with a thud. The devil's vitality was strong. Even if his head was cut off, he was not completely dead. He opened his blood-red eyes and stared at Emo Xiaobai and the other three. His eyes were filled with unwillingness. I actually died in the hands of mortals. I can't accept this. He grinned and revealed a sinister smile. But I'll be back. As he spoke, his flesh began to wither and extraordinary items began to appear. Emo Xiaobai and the other three did not care about the devil's words. Devils would always come back after they died. Of course, they knew this. The strong believed that the devil's soul imprint only existed in their own universe. What came to Azure Sky and their universe was only a projection of their power. This was very likely the reality. And if this was the reality, then the devil's power was much stronger than they imagined. It was so strong that it made them feel suffocated. Of course, this was not something that Emo Xiaobai and the others should be concerned about. They even had difficulty fighting a devil that had just entered the 8th level and was not yet an overlord. As for those deity-level devils, they had nothing to do with them. Very quickly, the devil's flesh began to wither and converge, forming a set of purplish-black leather armor. an origin skill crystal, a strange crystal key, and some origin stones.